Clobberin time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Poker. You know the game?
Clobberonimo!
Come get some.
It's clobberin' time! Clobberonimo! I just love clobberin' time!
Greetings. Clobberers, clobberonimos, clobberooskies, clobberoids, clobberologists, clobberians, and every other kind of club. And if you're not a club, just hang on. You will be. All you have to do is learn how to bang the rocks together, guys. Welcome. Greetings, my dear friends, to Clobberin' Times issue number 700 on YouTube, number 1,408. No, 708 on YouTube, I should say. Sorry. 1,408 overall. And it's Wild Card Wednesday night. And it's good to see you, my dear friends. Welcome. Let us see who is up in here tonight. Nothing much going on, just me and you and me, and just us talking. Let's hang out and talk. Show notes are not too much. Tomorrow night we'll have a very laid-back clubhouse. It'll be hopefully Raquel and Mark hanging out with me. None of our usual reviews. We'll just hang out with you. Just a little kind of holiday hangout, just visiting with you. Nothing big, just because we'll start all the business stuff. We'll start back again next week, but we'll be doing that. Before that, I might be on with with Tom and the gang over there, the Midnight Edge After Dark, the great Tom Connors and those great people. And then Friday, man, oh man, the end of an era. Our final on the great J-Man's channel, and with Sean and J-Man and I on this channel, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, we'll finish. It's the thrilling conclusion of our mega epic review of the Jack King Kirby's classic Fourth World Saga. The end, it'll be with the Hunger Dogs graphic novel, and that'll end it. And man, I'm going to miss it. We've had such a great time. But fear not, the next, we will continue on Friday nights, next being the Frank Miller run on Daredevil. So looking forward to that. And then, of course, after that show Friday night, hopefully I'll be hanging out with the Friday Night Comic Shop gang with Nick Weiser and the boys. If he's doing one, I don't know if there's a show or not. If he is, I'll do it. If not, Well, we won't, obviously. I'm not sure if he's taking the whole week off or whatever, but I'll make sure. Probably, I don't know. Oh, he didn't say. Well, he wasn't on Tuesday night. We'll see. But then Saturday night, I can assure you I will be here. Much like last Saturday night, it'll probably just be me talking whatever kind of Trek pops in there. And a great group showed up last Saturday night to talk some open Trek talk. We will return the following week, January the 6th, with number one returning. She is, of course, my wonderful, beautiful first officer is on shore leave, but she'll be back on the 6th, January, recharged and ready to go. January the 6th, we'll have a review, start back our reviews of Star Trek Voyager, 4 more episodes. So looking forward to that, but I'm looking forward to this too. Saturday night, just hanging with you guys, and just like we did this last Saturday night, because I had a lot of fun doing it. You were all fantastic. And I hope everyone had a Merry Trekmas and trekked the halls and all that good stuff and other kind. I hope you all had a great Christmas. This is sort of that weird midweek between Christmas and New Year's, and it's always an interesting one. It's always a strange feeling to it, isn't it? Getting back but it's still, in a sense, it's still Christmas. It's a tweener, but it's still Christmas because at least we haven't had. It really gets to be a bummer when all the holidays are over. Because even though I'm not, look, I don't do much anything. I don't really, I'm a single guy, and I get to see. I had a good Christmas. I got to see my daughter, which I didn't know if I was going to chance to see her, so I got to see her. And spend it with my mom and dad, and my kids, my daughter, my son, and others, and. Just it was a small get together, but it was great food and great seeing them all. So I had I hope you all had a decent, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas as well. For me, it was above average, but I usually don't have the greatest of Christmases because I'm kind of a single guy, but they're okay. And I get, I get excited about them and even bummed out a little bit in some ways because Christmas is complex, but it's always kind of a sad when it's over. So I'm the week between Christmas and New Year's. You should always let's try to make it feel as much like a holiday week as we can, because it's the holiday is not just one. Even though because when it's over, it's like, oh man, back to business, and we will be back to business. But tonight we just get to hang out, and tomorrow night we'll hang out, and Saturday night we'll hang out, and even I think I believe even Sunday night the Geekery with the great Mark D with the T channel will be back. 11 Eastern for that. So in the meantime, let's do some shout outs, shall we? Of course, whether they're here or not, they get the shout out. Our wrenchers, meaning the great Eric K, the bronze wrencher. I can't see the chat yet, so I don't know who's here or not. I'm just going to start shouting you guys out. The Eric K, the good old buddy. The great Chris Persia, vindicated wrencher of the Great White North, and thank you for all you do, buddy. Extraordinary D. Bud Martin, the wrench of iron. D. Bud, buddy. Lord Thoth, and shout out to Lady Thoth as well. Avon lives, long live the Legion. J-Man, the wrench without fear, partner in crime on earth. B, Legionnaire extraordinaire and reviewer extraordinaire. Good to see you, buddy. Maddie's daddy, the great wrench from Vegas. Be the French Melia. Stephen Cal-El, buddy. Great pal as well. The rascaling wrench himself, Fanty Outsidery. Hungry Boy, master of the Clobberin. And of course, there is Maximum Redstone, Clobberin Time's own music meister. So there we go. And let's see what wonderful friends are here with us in the chat tonight. Let me back the chat up because I have not got a chance to see it. And there we go. Larry. Larry, good to see you there, brother. I hope you're doing well. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for being here. Dave C. Greetings, my friend. FKH. C2005, hail to you, my friend. J-Man popped in. Oh, man, let's see. Oh, he said, hey, all, I've been sick all week. Gave me, oh, man. So I may be asleep when this starts, but just saying hello. Well, hello to you, buddy, and I hope you feel better. So sorry you're not doing well, brother. But I can't wait to talk to you soon, and please feel better. Could not be reached for further comment. Greetings, my friend. Hope you're doing well. There's Maxie and D-Bud, buddy. What's up, bud? I hope you're doing great, man. I hope you had a great Christmas. CLS Studio. Hey, welcome. Alejandro Flores Ibarra. Hello there. Greetings. I hope you're doing well. Penny, hello, Penny, my dear, lovely to see you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you and yours had a wonderful Christmas and are still having great holidays. We'll definitely talk some Doctor Who, my friends. Ezra Goldsting, shalom, my friend. Since you guys are talking some Who, and this is open talk tonight, we'll talk. We will get to that just a second here. First, Keely Chow, roll the tide, Keely. Let's see here. Anybody else? Oh, Ravenscroft. Hey. Welcome. All right. Well, there we go. We got all you wonderful friends here. Let's see. So let me start some of these Doctor Who comments. Let's start off with that big nasty in the room. I touched on it a little bit Monday night, of course. Pardon me, I am the Church of Mark D and of Latter-day Clobbs. I like it. Look. All right, let's see. Hang on one second. Yes. Hey, J man, hope you feel better, buddy. Let's see, get some of these Doctor Who comments. Starred. And you gotta have to watch how you star stuff on this thing. Alrighty then. Okay, Chris Persia, yes indeed, and just relax, sitting watching on the TV. But I'm glad you're here, buddy. Thanks for all you do, bro. Okay, just make sure I got all the ones before I hit them. A bop. Joe Dog, welcome, Joe Dog. Good to see you. All right, let's see here what I end up starring here. Max Redstone says, "I'm not your buddy, pal. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to presume upon your. We're just acquaintances, I guess. After all, I was presumptuous on my part. I'm sorry, but I mean, acquaintance, pal, buddy, pal, acquaintance. Well, you're just Max. Is that good enough? You are the Max. You are the maximum one." Oh, we love Max. You rock, brother. Whatever you are, you're there. Max said, "So I watched the Doctor Who Christmas special. So this is a diversity cocktail of Gremlins, the Muppets, Pirates of the Caribbean, with a salted rim of Buffy the Vampire Slayer." Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah, it's also crap. Mega crap, really. Dumb, silly, boring, and of course, insulting the Doctor Who lore when they're double or quadrupling down on timeless children garbage. I didn't like Shooty that much at all. I don't think he has the kind of. I just don't think he has that kind of. And again, this could be down to writing. Something I talked about Monday night. May as well go through it since again a little bit. When you first see a new Doctor, once you're acclimated to the show, I've been a fan of the show for, like I said, 40-something years, 42 years, whatever it is, 41 years, somewhere up there. And of course, after I learned, I started out cold, with Tom Baker, Genesis of the Daleks being my first episode. But when I learned about regeneration and started getting to see some of the other Doctors, and then getting to see, for example, Castrovalva, after, Robot, of course, Castrovalva, in other words, introductory Doctor stories, which I've talked about here. And I've even ranked the Doctor's intro stories. As well as the Christmas specials. The intro story has to hook you on a new, and the intro story has one prevailing job. It has to sell you the new Doctor, to the fans. Of course, RTD doesn't care about this kind of crap because he just hey, love you too there, brother. You're the man, Max. RTD doesn't care about that. RTD, excuse me. He doesn't care about fans. He has nothing but contempt for fans, unless they, of course, walk in lockstep with his pathetic ideology. Then you're okay, of course. but what maybe he never understood this. Maybe he did. I don't know. But the all important job of the introductory episode of A New Doctor. Now, An Unearthly Child was different. They didn't know really what the show was. But Power of the Daleks was the first time a new doctor comes along, and they didn't know what they were doing. The episode's kind of, as you know, most of it's lost. They had to animate They had to animate the first couple of parts. So even then, at that point, they really weren't sure what they were doing in terms of introducing. It was whole new ground for them. But by the time they got to the Spearhead from Space, which was the first John Pertwee episode, that one really established, the series had been on for years, yes. But as far as establishing a new doctor, that's really, that's very much the first establishing episode. It took them over the course of a little bit for Patrick Troughton to, over the course of a couple of multi-party stories, the few that we can even see, they were still, complete. Because they had to animate the first part of the Power of the Daleks. But my point being is that first, they decided to, when they got to that episode, which I really love, Spearhead from Space, with John Pertwee, they decided, okay, by the part 4 of this 4-parter, we're introducing not only a new doctor, and they had their hands full. They were introducing a new doctor and a new format for the show, which he would be exiled to Earth by the Time Lords. So it did it beautifully. It introduced you to the new doctor. By part 4, really by part 2 or 3, you were getting used to this new doctor. And you got to understand, back then, for those people, they'd seen William Hartnell, who's this guy that looks nothing like him taking over for him, but they got used to him after 3 years, meaning the great Patrick Troughton. And then this guy, John Pertwee, comes along. He doesn't look anything like either one of them. A crucial time in the show's history. And John Pertwee's just so terrific. He sells it. The writing is so great. Barry Letts was running the show at the time. You had Terrence Dix, Malcolm. You had a lot of good writers, Robert Holmes, all these people working on the show. You had a great cast with Nicholas Courtney added to the cast as a regular. The Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart. At this time, Carolyn Johns as Liz Shaw. You had, and I'm going to I'm going to talk about introductory episodes of Doctor Who, because that's what this was supposed to be this week, as this one and the end of the last of the 60th. So the job of Spearhead from Space was to sell you a new doctor, and also it had other work to do. It had to sell you the new format of the series, which was not the same as the first 6 years of the series. It did it beautifully. I love Spearhead from Space. It's a great episode. And it even gave you new Doctor Who villains. It gave you the Nestines and the Autons, which was great. So by that time, you're ready to go. You got a new doctor. It's a new show, and you love it. Boom. 5 years in, John Pertwee leaves the series. You get this crazy-looking new dude in an episode called Robot, sometimes known as the Giant Robot, if you look at the novelization and even the script. But the Robot, where you get Tom Baker, and he comes on. He's so different. By the end of part 1, you're like, wow, you're digging this guy. I know, again, I saw him later in Genesis of the Daleks, but just remember, if you were someone who were seeing these in real time back then, you see this guy. He's nothing like Sean Pertwee, but he's fantastic. And you after a while, you miss Pertwee, but you're just loving this guy, Tom Baker, who is my all-time favorite. I'm biased, I admit it, but I love Pertwee just as much as I love Baker, by the way. So again, I love William Hartnell, but again, I didn't start out. I was a year old when it came on. I was in another country. I've seen what I've seen of him. I love him. I've got to see what I've seen of Patrick Troughton. Of course, I just dearly love him as well. But, I was able to really see and experience more starting with Pertwee, because all of his are intact. They're bits and pieces of Hartnell and Troughton, but I do love those doctors. But as far as really getting a feel for the beginning to end, the whole thing. I've watched the Pertwee runs in the era so many times, some episodes more than others, naturally. Anyway, and that's not a bad point there, Alejandro. The Spirit from Space, and it's from almost a light reboot of the show, and the series transitions from black and white to in a sense it was, or it was. Hey, DJ, play nice, good to see you. But yeah, in a sense it was. So here you have two doctors all established, and again, as much as I love Tom Baker, it was 7 years of Tom Baker. I didn't mind it. I was sad to see him go, but I was interested to see what the new guy was going to be. And a lot of people in the States who that's when Tom Baker's Doctor is what really is the first one that hit it really big here in the States. In the 80s, we'd seen some of the other doctors beforehand, and we got to see a little bit of Pertwee, but Tom Baker was Doctor Who. He was Doctor Who in the 80s in the States. And yet, and there were a lot of people that did not want to see him leave, to the point where they were not going to give Peter Davison a chance. I'll remember that. I was running a comic shop at the time. I was excited. I didn't want to see Baker leave, but I was excited to see a new doctor. Hey, Fanty. So, and some people, they knew Peter Davison from All Creatures Great and Small, and they were saying, Tristan Farden can't be the Doctor. What the hell? But I loved Castrovalva. I loved that he's very different each time. By the end of Castrovalva, it did its job. Again, an introductory episode sold me on a Doctor, and I was ready to see the adventures of the new Doctor, in spite of Patrick being with him still, I was just ready, and I was happy. And of course, I love the JNT had his faults. JNT, people criticize him a little bit too much for me. I'm easier on JNT than most people. John Nathan Turner, not just because I met him for like a couple seconds once, but I mean just because he did some things that I don't like. He had his faults like anyone else. He's way better than Russell T Davies, dumbass. So anyway, after 26 years, the show ends, on his watch. But when they introduced Colin Baker, you may not like the twin dilemma. I actually don't hate it I hate it like a lot of people do. By the end of the twin dilemma, and then into Attack of the Cybermen is one after it, which was, I was sold. I loved Colin, and I was ready to see Colin's adventures. Sure, they had some faults. I thought there were some actually really good ones. There were some not so good ones though. Yeah, I hear you there, Alejandro. Where I'm going to get to some of these. I'm going to store them so I can address them. But I just want to fit. My basic point is when we get to Sylvester McCoy, big dust up there. Michael Gray chases Colin Baker out, that jackass scumbag Michael Gray. That's Grade, the BBC controller of the time who hated the show. So much so that they chase him out, but they ask him to come in and film a regeneration scene, and Colin Baker rightly says, "Go screw yourself." So Sylvester McCoy regenerates into himself. He plays the Sixth Doctor and the Seventh Doctor for a second when he puts on a wig and Colin Baker's clothes, and it was kind of funny actually. But point being, we transition over, and a lot of people hate Time and the Ronnie. By the time I love McCoy. And by the time that episode was done, boom, I'm sold on the Doctor. He's the Doctor. That's it. Let's go. Had a lot of problems in those early seasons of his, but then he got some great stories. So I love Sylvester McCoy. Let's see here. Larry, thank you so much. Oh, gifted 5 Clobberin Times memberships. Thank you, buddy. Larry, that is too kind of you, my friend. Thank you so much. You just, man, I tell you what, I don't know what to say, but thank you so much, sir. You're too kind, too generous. Thank you. So there you go. You've got 26 years of the series. They end it very abruptly at the end. After 3 seasons of McCoy, then they get the stupid Fox pilot, and this was a bump in the road for me. I hated it. It's not that I hate Paul McGann. I just thought they wrote a lot of stupid shit in that episode or in that movie. And I don't like the way. So we finally, for the first time, introduce a Doctor very recklessly and poorly. Later, I heard some. I got to listen to some of his Big Finish audios, and he was good. He was good in that Night of the Doctor short. He's an excellent actor. I have nothing against him. Played well, written well. He would be a fine doctor, and I would love to have seen him get the chance, but they got screwed over, and it's a shame. 2005. I'm not looking forward to this new Doctor Who. I keep seeing pictures from it. The Doctor's wearing Fonzie's jacket. Who is that? That guy's young. That guy's the Doctor. I don't know about all this. Short hair, wearing Fonzie's jacket. But I'll watch it. They leaked Rose, the opening episode, to the internet like 2 weeks before the thing premieres in the UK and or in over there, and I loved it. I loved Rose from get-go, and I love Eccleston. One episode I'm in, I love the guy. He's great. I can't wait. I was really loving it. I was like, oh man, he's leaving too early. Oh no, here we go again. We're losing a doctor early. That's a shame. That's too early. He leaves. The David Tennant guy, see what he looks like. I don't know. I don't know about this guy. Can he be any good? By the end of the wonderful Christmas Invasion episode, his first episode, I'm like, this guy's great. Can't wait. And of course, I love David Tennant, like a lot of us do. By the end of each one, again, except for the McGann debacle, and that was because it's dumb writing, I'm sold each time at the end of each episode, first introductory episode, I'm ready to go with this doctor. We'll see. And some of them didn't have great episodes coming out the box, but they had great openings, and they were good. They were written well. They were solid, because it's a certain way you have to write each new doctor, and I'm there. Boom. So there's another one. Matt Smith comes around. I keep seeing pictures of this guy. I was like, this kid's 26 years old? No way. Come on, man. This is ridiculous. The 11th hour, he takes him a total of like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and I'm really liking him. By the end of the 11th hour, which was such a wonderful, beautiful, brilliant episode, one of the best ever, I love the guy. He didn't have the greatest run of stories, but Matt Smith was just magnificent. In my opinion, his performance of the Doctor carried a lot of weak and flawed stories. He was just that good, in my opinion. I loved him. So he leaves us. Peter Capaldi, I was excited about his casting, but I was worried. But I thought at least he's going to be great. And they wrote him so clumsily that I never warmed up to him as a doctor. Great actor. I don't like the way they wrote him. And he never had any stories that I could really sink my teeth into that I really loved, that I would watch over and over again like other doctors. That said, I still accepted him as a doctor. It was never him. He's great. I just didn't care for the way he was characterized much. Nevertheless, I totally accept him as a doctor, and he's a brilliant actor, and he's amazing. Goes without saying what I thought of the Jodie. It took her less than a millisecond for me to hate her guts. Not just because it is wrong to cast a female. Sorry. The Doctor's a man. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. That the Doctor's a man. However, that doesn't mean I wouldn't give her credit if the performance was good. Because if I'm going to sit there and watch it, I'm going to be as fair as I could possibly be, even with that caveat. But the first thing out of her face is a goofy look, and she goes, "Brilliant!" She says it's brilliant because he's changed into a woman now. When the Doctor never does that before, so she was atrocious all the way through. So was Chibi. Everything about Chibi was garbage. David Tennant comes back in those 3 specials, and he's not David Tennant. He's not the David Tennant Doctor. He's just a broken down old fool. He's not interesting. He's not good anymore. And believe me, he's the only reason I even watched him. So Chudy gets his first appearance, and what do they do to him? Look, they, instead of having the guts to let one doctor pass and pass it on to him, they make this co-doctor crap, this bi-generation bullshit. And he flits around at the end of that episode, and you don't really get much of a feel what he is one way or the other than he's just weird. He doesn't feel like a doc. And so now we get the church on Ruby Road. And, obviously he's probably a good actor. I just don't, the way he's written is not, it just doesn't, again, a lot of this has to do with the writing. All these actors were great that I was just talking about, but their writing in their first episode was crucial, and except for the two exceptions that I told you about, that I mentioned, meaning McGann, great actor, but I don't like the way it was written in this pilot, and Deep Breath, the episode, a lot of people like it. I don't. Deep Breath, and in many other episodes after that with Capaldi, I don't like the way he was written. Every other time, even in lesser openers, stories-wise, the characterization was spot on, and you sold me the Doctor. The job of that episode is to sell me the Doctor, and the job of the Church on Ruby Road, even though it continued over from that 60th episode, was to sell me Shuti Gatwa. Make me eat my words. Make me go, you know what? Now, you need a decent story to do that, and had a shitty story. But at least even in a not so good story, you could have written him doctorish, and he's not written particularly well. He doesn't have that doctor persona that just somehow exudes from the character that makes. I look at Matt Smith and don't see a 26-year-old in that first episode. I see 1,000-plus-year-old Time Lord when he plays him the whole time. I'm sold. We know it's a 26-year-old actor at that point. 27 when the episode finally aired or whatever. I never looked at Peter Davison, who was in his early 30s, late 20, like 29 or 30, whatever, when he first played the Doctor. In Castrovalva, when he starts getting his memory back together, and he starts even early on when he's channeling the other doctors. He looks younger than Tom Baker. He's the youngest one yet, and I automatically accept him as the Doctor. I love Davison, by the way. I accepted Eccleston immediately. Okay, he's a Doctor. He's regenerated. He ain't getting younger, but okay. And Tennant, Smith. But you got to sell it. They didn't sell shooting to me at all. The story was stupid. Again, that's part of it, but that's not all of it. When the first scene you see, aside from the bit in the 60s, in that last episode with the toy maker. In other words, the first in the Church of Ruby Road, when the first thing you see, okay, he's standing there, he's seeing the baby being dropped off, it's in the past or whatever. He looks all serious and maybe doctory, that's one thing. But the next time you see him, he's twirling around in a kilt in a dance club. I'm like, this is just not the way you introduce a Doctor. And his Sonic looks like dog shit. It's so bad. It sucks. So I just don't like him. I mean, again, I watched him. I don't think he was like horrible or anything in the episode later as a whole. Later on when he's running around doing doctory stuff, I'm like, it's too late now, probably. It's damaged beyond belief because we all know what RTD means for the show. Remember, RTD, I don't know if you know, but he is on record as saying that he's getting away from he said, if you like the more science fiction aspects of Doctor Who, then you're probably not going to like the show. We're going just all out crazy fantasy. Now, Doctor Who is not Star Trek. It leans into both science fiction and science fantasy. It does. However, it's grounded in science fiction, but it tends to definitely move over into science fantasy sometimes, which was perfectly fine. There's some great episodes that do that. But it's not always so ham-fisted about it, and it's not always so reckless about it. Not that it doesn't have reckless episodes. It does. It's the 60 years of them. But he's just like this goblin crap. The idea, it was at first I was like, okay, the whole luck thing, the whole coincidence science and all this other kind of crap. Maybe that's interesting if you handle it well, but he didn't. He just played it for laughs. He didn't expound upon it. We didn't learn anything about the goblins. We learned nothing about the goblins, about their threat, about what they were, where they came from. We knew immediately that Prisoner Zero was a dangerous threat from another dimension, and the Atraxi were willing to torch the Earth to destroy it. That's how dangerous Prisoner Zero was. And he was scary from get-go because of that in the 11th hour. We knew nothing about goblins except they wanted to just feed a baby to a big stupid monster. Okay, we get it. They're nasty goblins and they want to feed a baby. Great, a song about eating babies. That's cute for Doctor Who on Christmas. So This is, but we don't. They're nothing. But there's nothing there other than we know they're silly. We know they're nasty, and they want to feed a baby to a big monster thingy, and that's it. Nothing else is there. Oh, that science of consequence or coincidence. Interesting idea, but you have to do something with it, right? And Doctor Who usually ideas like that they would expound upon them. Not a lot. You don't even have to do a lot of expounding, but you got to do some. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And Shooty doesn't get a chance. He gets a terrible opening trip. So this episode fails. I mean, it could have been if it were just like an okay story, but it sold the character of the Doctor. If you sold me the new Doctor and make me go, okay, I want to see what happens next with the new Doctor and the new companion. If you sold that to me, I'd be like, all right, wasn't that great, but we'll see. But they didn't. They didn't make me want to see what happens to Shooty next, or what happens to Ruby and Shooty and next. They didn't make me say, wow, he looks totally different, but he's the Doctor. I don't feel like I'm watching the Doctor. Yes, he did some, in a sense, he did doctor-y type things, like he saved the baby, he beat the monster, he saved some, yeah, he did heroic things. Yeah, true enough. That's, if you want to be fair, let's be fair that yes, he did doctor-y things. But you got to be able to look at their face, their new face, and look at their mannerisms and the way they act and talk, and you got to feel like you got to somehow you just get the feel. I didn't get the feel when he was sitting there whining about being another thing when he was doubling down on the or quadrupling down on the timeless child, timeless children, and talking about being an orphan and all this garbage. They just recently found out that went nowhere towards convincing me that, yeah, this is a doctor. This is a legit doc at all. See, they went the other way, the other direction. So it was a big nothing pretty much. And I don't, it's just not Doctor Who. I'm going to read some of your comments now. We'll get away from Doctor Who after a while. Alejandro says, got 2 seasons of classic Doctor Who on Blu-ray for Christmas. Nice. I was meaning to get me one of those, because I need more of the Blu-rays. On Monday morning, nice. Season 10, Pertwee's 4th. Oh, wow. Cool. That's, of course, got the 3 Doctors in it. Yeah. Season 19, Peter Davison's first season. Love it. I do have that one. I got it cheap back when it first came out. I got a pretty good deal on it. So greatness. I need to get those Pertwee seasons, and I'm going to do those soon. I've got his first season, but they're expensive. I can't really afford them that often. But once in a while, when I catch them on a decent sale, I would love to get all those Blu-ray sets. There are like 24 of them out now, though. I only have a few. Ezra says, Shalom, Clobby. Have you watched the Doctor Who Xmas special? Is this your last outing of Doctor Who? Probably is my last, Ezra. Probably is. I don't know. I mean, I say that, but if I'm sitting around and it pops up on whatever service I have, I sat through the whole stupid Chibi era, except for the Flux thing. I didn't watch that. I thought I was going to be done with that. Then I got sucked back in with that stupid Power of the Doctor crap just so I could see the other Doctors and companions in it. And that led to me watching the 60th garbage. And that led to me watching, well, that crap this week. So I don't know. I don't trust me. I'll probably end up watching more. Pertwee's first season's not out yet? Oh, must be. I got one of them. Must be the second season. Are you sure Pertwee's first season? I thought that's what I was given. Maybe not. Alejandro, look, I'm senile, so yeah. Well, thank you, Ravenscroft. I appreciate that. Thank you. Alejandro says, "Oh, a Brigadier t-shirt. Hey, cool. Brigadier, I think our pulse is catching up with us." Love it. Oh, we could be playing the game of Rassilon at this very moment. Your tone doesn't inspire much confidence, Doctor. I gather we are not expected to win. Love the 5 Doctors. Love the Brigadier. I was fortunate enough to meet Nicholas Courtney very briefly once. Splendid fellow. And to quote him, wonderful chap. All of them. Them. And no, it wasn't pronouns either. Did you watch Xmas special, Ezra? I'll never get that 50 minutes. Yeah, yeah, I hear you, Max. Max, you didn't like that either. Alejandro says Christmas doesn't end until the 6th or 8th in some cultures. That's a fair call. What a fair call. So Max says the Xmas special was part Gremlins, part Muppets, and part Pirates of the Caribbean, part Disney shite, with an assaulted rim of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No Doctor Who, though. It's a fair call. Alejandro says, I'm mainly interested in picking up the third to 7th Doctor on Blu-ray as part of the collection, though I'll probably pick up the second Doctor too whenever they start releasing them on Blu-ray. That'll be a while for the second Doctor to get on Blu-ray because a lot of them will be animated, finishing up the animated linked episodes. Max Redstone says, the intro serials episodes of Pertwee, Baker, Davis, and Baker, McCoy, Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, and Capaldi all establish the essential foundation of who the Doctor would be. True enough. Not Jodie, not Shooty. They just bound around doing whatever, whenever. Once again, unless this schmuckately, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce it. Schmuckery is Lincoln Hayes in a TARDIS. I once again have zero idea of what the farg is going on. I'm with you there, Maxo. They said so. Sorry I ruined it. Alejandro says, J&T was the first showrunner who actively wanted the show to become big in the U.S. Truishness. I have to admit, Davison was a bit jarring. Took me a while to warm up to him. Says could not be reached for. You're not not for me, but you're not the only one that has said that. I understand. Although I like Davison immediately, but you're not the only one that said that. Of course, it was how do you take over from Tom Beckett? It's a tough act to follow. That's sort of like you come in after a quarterback that's won 4 Super Bowls and you're supposed to come in there and you're expected to bring your team to the Super Bowl again. It's just not easy. RTD makes JNT look like Pope John Paul, says Alejandro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. JNT was much maligned, unfortunately. CT, Hearts, JNT. Yeah, I like JNT. He did some things that were, certainly questionable. JNT kept the show going, so all my Who friends liked him. Yeah. I have to say that the stories under JNT weren't as strong as before, but they're still decent, unlike the writing on Capaldi. For Capaldi on, actually, I can name some great episodes in the JNT era, at least that I think are great, so I hear you. But I understand you, but I think he had a lot of great episodes, in my opinion. Alejandro says the Goblin song seemed like something out of the Peter Jackson Hobbit trilogy. It was pretty dope. I mean, Doctor Who could be silly. You could do stuff like that if it's interesting and it's funny. CLS Studio, have a good one. Thank you for being here. Hey, Gwagnar's here. Gwag, what's up, buddy? They released Spirit from Space story on Blu-ray years ago, and it was the only one filmed entirely on film, so made an easy conversion. I have that somewhere. I love Spearhead from Space. Yeah. JNT may have stayed well too long, but I'm going to defend him a little bit here with some stories. Okay, JNT did. We got great stuff. We got great episodes. Great stories anyway. Like Legopolis. We got Anthony Ainley from him, who would have thought was a great master. Not Roger Delgado, great but great. I thought we had some problems too, but still, there's some great stories. Castrovalva, Earthshock. Modern Undead, love it. The 5 Doctors. Planet of Fire, Caves of Androzani. Mark of the Rani. I like that one, and a lot of people don't like it. I even like the 2 Doctors, as ridiculous as it is. I love The Ultimate Foe. Very hard. I love Silver Nemesis and Remembrance of the Daleks and Battlefield and Curse of Fenric. So there were, they had a lot of, JNT had some great episodes. At least I thought so. What are you going to do? But I understand, Ezra. A lot of people. Trial of a Time Lord. Yeah, I thought there were some good ones. Now here, all right. Now here, I have my list of the top 12. Since I'm not going to count anything else, introductory episodes. Since this is appropriate, I guess I did this last year. I think because of the appropriate. It's appropriate because last year, if you'll remember, I did this list. Is it still on there? Wow. I still have my pictures from my. I was just looking at still my pictures from my old top 25 list. Hey, Dave C. What's up, buddy? So, intro episodes. First ones with a doctor. Did I get in trouble for this one? I think I got a little flack from it. I'm gonna go 12 on down because that's all that matters. Church on Ruby Road's not Doctor Who, and neither is what's that? The Woman Who Fell to Earth, Garbaggio. It's not Doctor Who. So to hell with that. I am gonna count Pertwee. So number 12. The Enemy Within is the other word for the Fox pilot with McGann. I thought it was the worst one. My number 11 is Deep Breath, the first one with Peter Capaldi. Again, not fond of that episode. Now, number 10 got me in trouble, but look, this episode is tough because so much of the beginning is animated. And that's Power of the Daleks. First episode of the second Doctor. It's just very difficult to get a handle on. The dumbass who fell to Earth. I know what you need. You mean Jody?
Is because you're a dumbass.
Yeah, that one doesn't count. It's not Doctor Who. Power of the Daleks is number 10. It's tough to get a handle on it. They didn't know what they were doing exactly as much. And Unearthly Child at number 9. Again, I love the first part where we finally meet the Doctor, but after that, it's 3 parts of sitting in a cave with a bunch of cavemen. Number 8, the Twin Dilemma. Again, I like the episode. A lot of people hate the Twin Dilemma, boy. And number 7, they hate even more. Time in the Ronnie at number 7. I guess I should name the Doctors. Okay, 12, Paul McGann. 11, Peter Capaldi. 10, Patrick Troughton. 9, okay, an Unearthly Child with William Hartnell. So now we're at 8, the Twin Dilemma, Colin Baker. A lot of people hate it, I know. 7, Time in the Ronnie, Sylvester McCoy. Flawed, perhaps. But, good night, Ravenscroft. Have a great night. Alejandro said, I like Power of the Daleks, which I saw months after your ranking. I remember I saw Power of the Daleks at a Fathom event. They brought it to the movie theater after they, right around in conjunction, I believe, with the release of the Blu-ray. Yeah, which was and they animated a lot of that. They had to animate. They had the soundtrack for it. But it was an okay episode. It's I think it was a little bit like a lot of those episodes at that point. It was padded a bit, in my opinion. Number 6, Rose, of course, Stefan Eccleston, and then these are the episodes. I mean, that's a solid, great episode in my opinion. Number 5, Robot with Tom Baker. Hey, he's my favorite Doctor, but these are intro stories I'm ranking here, and I love Robot. But number 4, The Spearhead from Space, the great John Pertwee, of course. Number 3, The Christmas Invasion, David Tennant, pure fun. If there's any knock on that episode, it takes too long to get him up on his feet as a doc, but it's still highly enjoyable. It's great. Number 2, Castrovalva. Controversial, probably. I know a lot of people don't like Castrovalva for some reason. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute, about episodes people don't like. And number 1, of course, The 11th Hour, Sylvester McCoy. It's a beautiful story. It's the most beautiful of the introductory episodes, in my opinion, introducing a new Doctor. It just doesn't get, to me, it doesn't even, nothing even close. It doesn't even get any better. That's true. Wanda Ventham was in The Time and the Ronnie. So Benedict Cumberbatch's mummy. So, Doctor, where were I? Yeah, one of the funny things I've noticed over the years of when the bigger the internet got in terms of Doctor Who fandom is, of course, if you're an American, your opinion means crap. And I know it's not everyone's that way, I guess, but you get that a lot. I mean, if you have, even though I've been watching it for 41 years and watch and love it, and I think I know as much Doctor Who as I put my knowledge against most people. Not everybody, obviously. I'm sure there are some fans who could destroy me, but I don't know. I mean, I may not know it quite as well as I know Trek, but it's close, and I'll go up against anybody on Trek. And with my old man memory, I'll probably lose, but I'll go up against him anyway. But so I know my Doctor Who, but it doesn't matter. I used to read about when I started reading more and more what consensus about certain episodes of Doctor Who were, especially classic Who. I always get a kick out. I would see people refer to certain episodes as a standard example of a horrible, crappy episode, and I'll go, really? I mean, after about the third or fourth time I would see that or whatever, I go, wow. And even people I like commentators that I like, will mention how bad it is. I go, I kind of like that episode. I'm feeling self-conscious now. I'm like, man, I didn't know I was supposed to. I'm joking. I'll like what I like. It doesn't matter. But I'm just kidding. I'm going, wow, I didn't get the memo that I was supposed to hate that episode. What the hell? You know how fans are. That doesn't happen with Trek as much. Not entirely, anyway. At least with the original series. Fandom Outsider said you should start posting these lists. Lists, you mean? On your Facebook as a companion to the show, pun intended. Yes, I have done it. I used to do that, but I forget sometimes. Thank you. You're right, though, Fanty. I should. So, like, I would see people talking about, again, like just in a casual reference, they would reference an episode that they think is garbage. Garbaggio. And I'll be like, I didn't know I was supposed to hate that one. Now, for example, with Trek, it's different. I mean, everyone knows that Spock's brain is crap. At least I thought they did. Now, people like that one. So, what do I know? I mean, my good buddy, and I miss you, Flash, if you're out there. Should have got Flash to be here with me tonight. He's busy doing family stuff. But he's doing better. For those who don't know him, my old partner in crime on the old BTR days. We many years ago in BTR, when we did our one of the, I think the first time did a top 25 all-time favorite original series episodes of Star Trek. I was shocked at how many third season episodes were on in his top 25. Love you, buddy, but man, none of those third season episodes on mine. So again, there's no right or wrong answer. It's a favorite list, but I was a little shocked by it. I got to admit, and I was, other than kidding him about it, it was no big deal, but. Yeah, strange. It was strange to me, but in a good way. I was laughing. Razz each other about that kind of stuff. But geez, so I guess Doctor Who. I mean, there are a couple episodes I like that are generally despised. And I'm like, man, I'm embarrassed to admit I like that one. Again, kidding. I don't care, but But if I named it now, I'd be somebody in this episode somebody in here who knows Doctor Who would probably go, "Oh, you like that one?" And I'm talking classic Who right now, of course. I mean, I don't know. Actually, it's probably true of new, quote unquote, new Who too, or maybe it's the other way around. Because there are some episodes of quote unquote new Who that I know are popular that I can't stand. And I try to be well disposed towards New Who. I do like it, although not as much as I love the original. And some episodes I know, in fact, there are a couple of popular ones that I don't like. Which, that's okay, right? How about the Gravis Tractor? That's not one of my favorite episodes because I've never heard of it. The Gravis Tractor. I must have missed that episode. Which doctor was that, Max? The Gravis Tractor. The Gravis Tractor. Man, that does sound like an episode of Doctor Who, though, doesn't it? Yes, that sounds just like an episode. That's more my favorite one. What do you mean? You don't like the Gravis Tractor? What the hell's wrong with you, mate? J.T. Kirk, welcome. Yeah, Frontios. Why do people you like Frontios, Alejandro? See, I don't like Frontios much. The Tractators are weird. The story doesn't make any sense to me. I've tried to make sense of Frontios. Yeah. There were the Tractators. That wasn't the name of the episode, though. Yeah, I know they're the aliens from Frontios. But you wrote, wait a minute. That Gravis Tractator. The Tractators were called the Tractators, though. Yeah, I know. Gravis was okay. See, you threw me off by saying the Gravis Tractator. I watched that. That's an episode after I saw it the first time. I tried to forget about it, and then about a year or two ago, I watched it again. If you just said Tractators, then I go, yeah, that Frontios sucks. Brian Hepburn. Yeah, I know it's Frontios. If you'd have just said Tractators, but you put Gravis. They were shitty. They were stupid looking baddies, though. All right, Frontios would be one that, I don't know, but let me ask you this. Is Frontios disliked or is it liked? Is it popular? I'll tell you a stupid one. Warriors of the Deep. Warriors of the I mean, again, a wonderful plot because we got to see the Sea Devils and the Silurians again, which was nice. Written by a guy named Johnny Byrne, no relation. It's not popular. Okay, good. Giant space termites. Yes. I remember the Tractators. It's just he put Gravis Tractator. I'm like, what the? It didn't click. Trust Max to always mess me up. Max, you are well, you're doing your job as a troublemaker, that's for sure. I don't mind Frontios Tegan has a flash in that. Oh, what? Whoa. Okay, Warriors of the Deep has a scene where they had this stupid, really, really bad monster. I mean, it was supposed to be like a big sea monster thingy. Remember running around the station? And there's this, it could electrocute you as well, right? And I mean, it was an okay story, but there's a scene where this woman, the bad lady in the episode, or some scientist, yeah, the Merker. Thank you, Max. The Merker was really silly, and remember when the chick tried to kung fu the thing? She's attacked by the Merker. She's supposed to be, no matter how bad it looks, in the context of that fiction, it's a dangerous monster. She tried exactly, Max. Oh God, she goes all karate. She tries to kung fu the goddamn thing. Like it's supposed to be like a sea monster thingy. You're supposed to run from it or shoot something at it, not kung fu it. Yeah, that's true. Only Jacqueline Pierce could do it. Yeah, the Nymon were pretty silly. They brought the Nymon back in a Matt Smith episode, or sort of. Yeah, the Merker. Thank you. Well, but the Tractators were. Oh God, they were stupid. They were trying to make new Doctor Who. Have you noticed how, of all the Doctor Who aliens and baddies, only a few stick that are like staples. Obviously, aside from the Daleks, you've had. There died a dozen on the show throughout the course of the history, but the big ones, just some of them have staying power, even if they don't get brought back all the time. The Daleks, of course, made the show. They're the reason why the show lasted. Cybermen, goes without saying. The Masta. I really love the Nestine and, the Autons, but they didn't overuse them, which goes the Sea Devils and the Silurians. Remember that the second episode of the Purple Year was called Doctor Who and the Silurians for some reason? Yes, Paul Darrow's in that episode. Why'd they do that, by the way? Why was it in the title of the episode, Doctor Who and the Silurians? Is that the only episode that they say Doctor Who in the title of the story? I've always wondered what the deal was that. It couldn't have been a novel because of the novel. The novelization wasn't out yet. Shame the Sea Devils didn't come back into the. Oh yeah, they did bring the Sea Devils back in the stupid Jody crap. Fanty says, "Who eventually Real Who will return, and when it does, the real doctors should meet and have as a companion the son of or daughter of Leela, who was born and raised on Gallifrey and still has their mom's." Yeah, it could be. Yeah. It would have been nice to see Leela. I have a fondness for all the classic Doctor Who monsters, good and bad. Yes, yeah. So, what is your favorite besides if you leave out the low hanging fruit? If you couldn't pick Daleks, Cybermen, the Master, even, then those are the biggies. I'm going to leave in all the others. Because those others have been used, but not, all the time. All of them in both eras. What are your favorites? Lord Nymon. Yeah, Sontarans, you could put this, Sontarans were used a good bit. Agreed. I hear you. I would like to have seen them bring back Caroline Ford, Ezra. I wish they would have. She's alive. Crinoids. So you like it? You like the android invasion? Sontarans, Ice Warriors. Yes. Sea Devils. Yep. No tractators, please. Tractators. How about no Vervoids either? I don't want to see any Vervoids on. I'm kidding. You put whatever you want. Sontarans or the little baked potatoes, says Fanny. Sontarans. Sontarans are pretty good, though. Silurians, Zygons. We need more Sutek. Yes, Guagnar. Yeti. Omega. The Vox robots. Yeah, the Vox robots from Robots of Death. Yes. Yep. Chris Boucher. No one picked the Autons. I'm picking the Autons then. The Nestine and the Conscious and the Autons. There you go. Someone picked the Autons. Autons. How about the Ogrons? They just thugs for the Daleks, aren't they? So, let's see. You covered most of them. Shite. Power of the Doctor. Give Strax. Yeah, I loved Strax. By the Draconians. Yep, they were kind of, yeah. Pertwee liked those villains. Those bad. They don't really like monsters so much. Yeah. Gastropods from Twin Dilemma, right? JT, there you go. There you go. The Ronnie. Anyone going to say the Ronnie? I want the Ronnie should have come back more. I love the Ronnie. I know she's just a female master, but Who are the farting ones? It's the Slovene, Alejandro. Anyone's going to say that Weeping Angels? The Quarks. Wow, you going way back, Ezra. My goodness. You guys going to pick the War Machines next? There you go. How about the Crotons? Go back to Trouton while you're at it. The Valia, still waiting on the Valiard, the boat yard, rail yard, knackers yard, train yard, graveyard. I love that. The Zarbi going back to Hartnell. Nice. The Rutan host. Yeah, the Rutans. They didn't use the Rutans enough. You think they would have? Howard Fang Rock. Did they ever the Zarbi? Yeah, I already mentioned those. The Rutans, did they ever bring them back after Howard Fang Rock, Max? Did they mention? I know they mentioned them a couple of times. In fact, I know for a fact in the Two Doctors they mentioned them. I wonder if did they bring the Rutans back? They just talked about them, I guess. Agador, yeah, an Agador plushie. There you go. They mentioned the Peladon saga. Never brought them back, did they? Okay, I didn't think so. But with my look, I don't trust my memory anymore, so I ask. Never shown again. Mentioned in Two Doctors. I know that much. The Wirren from the Wirren were never mentioned again from Ark in Space. Good, that's a good one. Great episode, Ark in Space. How about the what's that? Oh man, I'm in trouble. Planet of Evil. What was that? Oh, that thing's name. And my good buddy Michael French, Retrobot, he likes the Planet of Evil episode. Meddling Monk. Oh yeah, Meddling Monk. Yeah, they could have brought the Meddling Monk back. They did bring the Toy Maker back. Unfortunately, we saw what that had to do. What that was. About the angry spiders. Yep, the spiders were all killed. They were all destroyed. But they did bring the Zygons back at least. Mandragora. Anti-Man. Yes. Yep. What were the ones from Invasion of Time? The Vardons or something, right? That were being controlled by the Santarans. The Collector. Yep. How about the Black Guardian? The Silurians' pet T-Rex from Doctor Who and the Silurians. Yeah. The Black Guardian, played by Valentine Dial. Yeah, the Crowls from Shada. That's a good one. Shada's great. Good night, Penny. Have a wonderful night, my dear. It's good to have you here. Thank you so much. So basically, the Doctor has run into some foes, man. I'll tell you. Had some. Oh yes, thank you, Max, for reminding me of that. Yeah, we should talk about that. We're talking Doctor Who. R.I.P. Mr. Richard Franklin, Mike Yates. Also popped up briefly in a Blake 7 episode called Aftermath. A nice, they say, a very nice man. Of course, an excellent actor. The character Mike Yates had an interesting history on there. Of course, he was Captain Mike Yates and was a good guy with UNIT, and then became kind of a part of the cult in the episode Invasion of the Dinosaurs, but eventually at the end did the right thing. And then later recovering from, and he popped up in the final Pertwee story, the Planet of the Spiders. Had a brief guest shot in the Five Doctors. So, yeah, I'm afraid so. Richard Franklin, another of so many of the Doctor Who people who have passed over the years. And, just the other day. So, all we can say is rest in peace, sir, and thank you very much for being a part of something that we love, Doctor Who. And I love the Unity era. I mean, I love Pertwee. Even though the whole unit, I mean, it wasn't his whole run, but yes. What about the evil master chefs, the culinary minister of the Androgom? Yeah, the Androgoms. Yeah, they were. Of course, Jacqueline Pierce was an Androgom, and a guy's Chuckeye of the Consen Grig. What about the war chief, the first Rogue Time? Well, not the first Rogue Time one. That was probably the meddling monk was the first one, but then there was the war chief in War Games. Again, predates the master. Troublemaking Time Lords. With all those Sid rats, the sideways TARDISes. Oh my goodness. That leaves Joe Grant and Sergeant Benton as the sole survivors of the unit family. It sure does. I love Joe Grant. Now I was lucky enough to meet John Levine, who plays Sergeant Benton, back in 1992 at a con in St. Louis. Spiffing bloke, nice man. Along with John Leeson, who's affirmative master. That's the voice of K9. And he was a super nice guy. And, of course, the wonderful Sophie Alder was there as well. But, yes, John Levine was an outstanding chap. Nice fellow. It's a shame we lost Ian Marter back in the 80s, man. I loved Harry Sullivan was an imbecile. The Axons, yes, Alejandro, yeah. It's fun reminiscing about Doctor Who, isn't it? Got a few. I never knew we had so many Doctor Who fans. Here. But yes, it's fun talking about Doctor Who villains, of course. Love it. Yeah, man, I'll tell you what, Sergeant Benton. Yes, the Great Intelligence and the Yetis and the you already mentioned them though. You all mentioned them. I think the third Doctor, Azel the Demon, good one, Alejandro. I love the Demons. It's a great episode, man. I love it. Yes, Larry. I love Sophie Aldred. I love Ace's. Right, I mean, it's between Ace and Sarah Jane for my favorite companion. Love them both so much. The Rastan Royal Robot. Love it. The Demons or the Demons. You say just Demons or however you say it, but I love that episode. The Horns of Naimon. Spelled Damon. I always because it was a weird spelling. I say Damon's Demon. I don't know how you say it, but love the episode. Man, just imagine if poor old Roger Delgado had not had that horrible accident that took him away. He'd have been doing. The Master would have been a very different character on Doctor Who, or he would have done more for sure. JT. Christine Chibnall is probably the spookiest of all evildoers in Doctor Who. Yeah. Chibi is one of the worst Doctor Who villains by far. Cherkov. It really is, man, because when you think of him, people like him, and the Kathleen Kennedys of the world, the Jar Jar Abrams, the Ryan Johnsons of the world, and the RTDs, even the Moffats, people who like to shit on things that other people love because it brings them up. They're not good people. I mean, here we're talking. It's the time of love and stuff like that. It's Christmas, so to talk about something bad just for a minute, though, it's just like these people have nothing. I mean, what is nothing but poison in their souls? They could just as easily be successful by doing things that people like to watch and enjoy. But they love destroying things, and they've done so much. No, I'm not talking about in the sense of hurting people physically, but they have hurt a lot of people inside their hearts and their souls by just taking this perverse pleasure in and think about this, destroying things of people that they don't actually know in real life. Alejandro said, didn't Chibi just do Torchwood before he moved to Who? He did do a Torchwood episode. I think he also did a stupid episode of David Tennant's Who called 42. Drashigs. Yeah, Drashigs from Borg's Machine. I actually love Carnival of Monsters, Max. I think that's a great episode. The Jurassics, they are underrated puppets. You know, Ian Marter's in that episode way before he played Harry Sullivan. Harry Sullivan is an imbecile. The Primords are linked to Yazgarath, the great vampires. Greatness. Imagine the 13th Doctor and chin balls, but your sports team, and they keep regenerating since the 50s. Wow. And by the way, your sports team, Mr. JT Kirk, buddy, congratulations on the Lions winning the division. I didn't get a chance to tell you that. Nice, man. Man, I'd give anything. See the Lions play the Browns in the Super Bowl. Imagine all the Browns Super Bowl jokes. Get it? Anyway. Would be something. See Flacco play against the Lions in the Super Bowl. But nearly that's true. You know, they haven't won their division since 1993, so you're right. And you're young then if it's been nearly your whole lifetime. Wow. My goodness. Yeah, you got the division. Now you got to do something with it, baby. Win those last 2 games. Get that 1 seed if you can. The Boss, that was a villain from the Green Death, right, Max? The gods of Ragnarok from the Great Show of the Galaxy. Yes, Alejandro. That was a weird-ass episode, but Ace is in it, so I love it for that. And it was that was when they were starting to work that strange mysteriousness of the Doctor from the McCoy Doctor. Here he is, this silly little dog, very Troughton-esque in a sense, and yet here he is, like, defeating the gods of Ragnarok, for God's sake. Pretty cool. And it was a weird episode. That was a crazy episode. Weirdos in that episode. Bunch of weirdos, that old lady. But it was in that clown. Ace did not like clowns. Could not be reached. Says there's a great book titled Doctor Who: The Monster Vault, but that's Jodie content. That aside, it's a nice collection. Yeah, they always have to update or downdate it to garbage like that, huh? That's a shame. The Menoptera, but the Menoptera was a hit and miss monster for me because the costume failed to impress. The Menoptera. That's not ringing a bell. Some reason. The Menoptera. Why am I forgetting it? I hate my memory. It sucks. Anyway, so I'm sure one of you will tell me. Of course, you all know you're who. Adrian Germs. The Web Planet? Could be. For the Web Planet. Well, that's old, man. The Bumblebee thingy. There you go. Nicely done, Alejandro. My memory's filthy garbage. I hate it. Wait, why did Ace not like clowns? I was sure she'd have been a fan of Kaboom cereal. No, she did not like clowns. The 456, is that from Torchwood Children of the Earth, Max? They were messed up. Anyone mentioned excuse me, mentioned the Ford. Sorry, I had a cough. Yes. They killed Yanto. That's true. They did kill Yanto. Damn them. The Vord from yeah. Well, the flood from water. I hated water. I'm one of those who hates waters of Mars. I really freaking can't stand that episode. The bee people. The Vord. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah. Jadoon platoon upon the moon. Yes. The mechanoids. How about the War Machines? That's Hartnell, right? Yes, sir. We've named a bunch of Doctor Who villains tonight, that's for sure. I loved Yonto. Not like Jack, but I loved Yonto, says Mac. Yeah, I understand. No, yeah, it was a good character. Nice kid. A nice kid, too. I'm going to understand if people met him. Oh, boy. Do the cleaners from Paradise Towers count? They always make me kind of chuckle. You know, I got to tell you, but when it comes to Paradise Towers, it's one of the episodes like Delta and the Bannerman that I can't watch anymore after the first time I watched it. So I have a vague memory of it. It was just the episode really kind of. So I got to admit, JT, I didn't watch that one too much, so I don't have a big memory of it. Alejandro says, "Why do you hate Waters of Mars?" I hate it because of that unbelievably. I cannot stand when the Doctor. Then this is something that was recurrent in the RTD era when the Doctor gets way over the top histrionic and nuts. The way he went nuts at the end there and said, "I can have anything I want. I can. Times can obey me." But then went all nuts and crazy and just made things worse. And that ending with that woman who, without spoiling anything, kills herself. I hate everything about that episode, especially that garbagey ending where the Doctor went flat out nuts, and that he thought he knew it all. And that woman goes and kills herself. It's like, ugh, I just hate it. I'm sorry. I hated that. I actually hated the end of time, and a lot of people like that one. I hate it. DD, what's up? Dun Ranger Powers. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you had a great Christmas. Yes, indeed. Rest in peace, Tommy Smothers and Richard Franklin. Yes. The Time Lord Victorious. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I did love Planet of the Dead. That's the only one of those specials I really loved, I think. Or was, yeah. Morbius from Brain of Morbius. That's a good one. And we forgot Morbius, didn't we? Yeah. The Sisterhood of Karn, but they're not really villains, but yeah. I went to in 2013. I went to Dragon Con, which I was often want to do in those days, and it was the 50th anniversary. So they had a big Doctor Who dance, a Doctor Who big. It was huge in a big ballroom thingy. Back when there was excitement for Doctor Who, it was the 50th. Was right before the 50th was going to come out. And so, needless to say, because Dragon Con is a huge cosplay con anyway, but there are tons and tons of Doctor Who cosplayers at this dance. And we happened to be. That was the only year that I went like 20 something years straight with missing only one. At some point to Dragon Con. That was the one time that we actually had a room at one of the hotel cons. We used to stay at a friend's place. Other than that, and anyway. So I went down, went and hung out at the dance to see all the pictures and all this other kind of stuff. And they had some pretty good costumes. I mean, some great ones. And I walk up to these ladies, and they're, of course, dressed up as the Sisterhood of Karn. And this was before we saw Night of the Doctor, by the way, with Paul McGann, So the only references, of course, to that Brain of Morbius, and I walked and started talking to them about it, told them, and they said, "Well, you're the first one that recognized us." I said, "Come on, really?" "Oh yeah." "Oh, that's weird." And they had some great costumes, by the way. Some people did. These guys did a great Vashta Narada. Oh, we forgot the Vashta Narada, everybody. And I know you're naming old villains. Because we didn't name Weeping Angels either, because that's kind of low hanging fruit. But the Vashta Narada. Anyway, they had a great Vashta Narada outfits, but these Sisterhood of Karn was pretty looked really good. They did a nice job. Salamander's an underrated villain because he's played by Patrick Troughton. I finally got that when they animated it. Max says Paradise Towers has been specifically designed for you by Krogan Krogon, universally known as the Great Architect, the genius responsible for Golden Dream Park, the bridge of perpetual motion, Miracle City. I need to watch that episode again. I admit it. Yeah. My track. I get off track. I can't remember everything. Enemy of the World. Oh, it had no missing episodes? Oh, I thought it was one of the animated ones. Okay. Well, my confusion. But I did buy it when it came out on DVD. I do know that much. So they were not animated. Wow. Okay. Good to know. I need to go back and watch it again then, I guess. But I remember that's been a few years since they put it out. My memory's garbage. I hate my memory. As far as I can remember. Red Kangs, Red Kangs, Red Kangs, Red Kangs, and a bunch of Red Kangs for Max. Oh dear. Red Kang the Conqueror. Yeah. Excuse me. I forgot where the hell I was going with all that. Man, just totally dropped out. Man, it is not good going senile, folks. It's not fun getting, losing one's bloody memory. But yeah. There are a bunch of episodes though that are very, very popular that I don't like, and the Vicey the Versey. Yeah. The Jaggeroth. Good one. See, and the Monoids. Yeah, see, we're coming out with some of them. I can't believe nobody mentioned the Weeping Angels until I mentioned it. Or did they? Maybe you did, of course. Again, they're too easy. And personally, they ruined the Weeping Angels. They should have used them one time in Blink, and that's it. I hated Angels Take Manhattan. Did anyone else like that? I hated that stupid ending. You know what? That's RTD at its worst, just about for me until now. But in the old days, because you can't. No, it wasn't RTD. It was Moffat. Excuse me, my bad. But it was Moffat at his worst, is what I meant to say. I get those two confused because Moffat did a lot of stupid shit. Moffat on Weeping Angels, Jagrafest. There you go, JT. With the Angels and the Muppets Take Manhattan, the Angel Muppets Take Manhattan, that jackass excuse. Look, in other words, that was right out of it felt like an RTD episode, because you can't just, like, Rose can't just leave him. Like when Rose left him, for example, there was no way they would ever write where she just decided to stay home. They had to make him and put her in another universe because they wouldn't have the guts to kill her either. Usually, a couple with Doctor Who companions, one of two things happen. Usually they quit and they leave. They go home. They said, all right, this has been fun, but got to go back to my normal life because it's just the way it is. Or, Tegan was pretty, it was pretty sad. And Rose, Matthew Pounder, welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Tegan said, this is it's no fun anymore. This is not, and she was pretty, and that was, say what you want about Tegan, and say, yeah, she can be annoying. That was an interesting way. There you go. Sil from Ventures on Varos and Mind Warp, Alejandro. Yes. RT and Z, welcome, my friend. That made sense the way Tegan left. Well, then, RT and Z, you're in luck because we already talked about it enough. We're not talking about that stupid new special anymore. We've moved on to talk about real Doctor Who. So I'm talking about the way Amy, because I've always wanted to talk about this. I've talked about it before. The way Amy and Rory left, I hate. I hate the Muppet Angels Take Manhattan. Because, okay, usually, yes, you have the death of Adric. Adric died. Sarah Kingdom and Brett Vian died. The minor companions. But usually, the companion just quits, leaves. They get. I mean, look what he did to Perry. He just left her with with Brian Blessed to scream at her all the time. They later kind of talked about it, but yeah, that was some kind of weird how they handled Perry. But in other words, but they just leave. They quit unless they die like Adric's little dumbass. And I threw a Death of Adric party at the comic shop I ran. So along comes RTD before Moffat, and he can't just look. Billy Piper wants to leave the show. We can't just write her out. Say, well, it was fun traveling with you, Doc, and all that stuff, but this is dangerous. I need to go try to have a life. But no, because he already tells her, you're going to be with me forever. And all this. I hate it. I really hated all the puppy love crap. I hated it. All the histrionics, all that bullshit. So in order to write themselves out of the corner, they got to stick her in another universe. He's going to burn up a sun just to go see her. Like, oh, shut up. Oh, I hate this Tumblr puppy love bullshit. It's not Doctor Who. I hate it. But they went to big extremes just so they could have an excuse to get rid of Rose. And then Martha, she leaves in a more sensible way because she realizes, I agree. Ezra Tegan probably should have left after Time Flight. That would have, but it was still interesting that she thought she'd been abandoned and ended up with the Doctor later in Arc of Infinity after a month. That was still a pretty interesting idea, I thought. But I hear you. I understand. So Rose, the thing, and then you get Martha. She leaves in a more sensible way. Then you get Donna, and here we get another problem. We can't just have Donna say, you know what? It's great traveling with you, but I'm gonna stay home for a while. They have to do the Metacrisis Doctor overly histrionic horse shit where that if she remembers her time with the Doctor, her brain will blow up. We can't have that. So RTD is a freaking drama queen. But then Moffat tops them all. He can't just have Amory and Roy say, look, we're going to have to, we love you and you can come visit us, but we're going to go live our lives. Because traveling the TARDIS is dangerous. And we're just going to try to settle down. But come say hello sometimes, please. And write them out that way, and then you just don't have to show them again. You can have them running around. No, we have to have really ridiculous drama. So kill him then. But no, I don't have the guts to kill him. He's going to pull this Weepy Angel shit. But now he has, the Doctor can still go anywhere in time and space, except for some reason he can't go see them. They're trapped. They're time locked. Since when can the Doctor not travel the TARDIS to go see them? Why? There was no excuse for it. They're time locked. I mean, they're stuck back in the 40s and he could not go there? Why? Which is bullshit. He still does it all the time. It makes no sense. It was so goddamn stupid. It was so goddamn stupid. Alejandro, I did mention the War Machines, yes. I just think it was idiotic. It made no sense because he never obeyed. He can't go see them, but he can still travel around in New York, supposedly in New York at any time period he wants. Huh? It's just shut up with them. Again, have the guts to kill him or write him out in some other way. Not silly idiocy that makes no sense. And then he does it again. He can't just freaking kill Clara, who she will know and so annoying. We all wanted her to get waxed. He keeps her alive in the last moment of her life and gives her a TARDIS with an immortal girl to run around with. God, he's so bad. Look, Chibi was the worst, but later Moffat's bad, man. I'm telling you. Moffat's crap, what he did with Martha, then what he did with Bill and all that stuff, he was, at least he still, yes, he had a good doctor, an actor playing him at least. He had that going for him, but his stories were shit. Especially all the crap with Bill. I mean, there were it's true it took a special amount of horrible to be worse, and Chibi was. But those last couple seasons of Moffat, man, he was just full of shit. Moffat's last season was painful to watch. Exactly, Matthew Pounder. I agree. You're right, Alondro. They're all friends. Moffat and Chibi and RTD, they're all buddies. All in the same club. I guess so. I wonder if they were all being referenced in Moffat's great show. What was it? Coupling. Boy, Coupling was a great show. RTD, Moffat, Chibi, Gaddis, Mark Gaddis. Yep, they're all friends. Oh, that's fine, but they're all buttholes too. They're all butt munchers, bunch jerk offs. That's what they are. Got nothing for them. Dump them indeed, but they're not going to be dumped. Exactly. Oh, that's very true. Moffat was as woke as the rest of them. That's absolutely true. D-Bud said, I did not like Moffat's stuff in general. His take on that Doctor Who was a dark fairy tale, and he was wrong. Exactly. He was wrong. He was fine when he was writing stories for TD, and but when he was running the show, again, there are, other than the 11th Hour, which I thought was a beautiful masterpiece, there weren't many. And I did love Day of the Doctor because it tugs at the heartstrings so much. For the most part, there was no episode story-wise that was as good as Matt Smith himself. Matt Smith was the best thing in all the episodes. He's so great as the Doctor, and even in lesser stories, he's just magnificent, in my opinion. I loved his performance with the Doctor. And a similar thing for David Tennant as well for me, too, because David Tennant, who had some great stories, even in garbagey stories, he's great. You can say that about all the best Doctors, even if they're in a not as good story, and then they all had their stories that were lesser than others. They're still terrific. So, looks at Wildcard Wednesday night became nothing but Doctor Who talk, everybody. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry if you're not, but I don't know if you're all, we just all happen to be some Doctor Who fans here, but we can talk some comics or anything else in the remaining time we have left if you've got anything else to talk about. Revenge of the Fitzroy Club. Yeah, the Fitzroy Club. I've heard about the Fitzroy Club there, Ezra. I've heard. I don't know much about it, but I have heard about them. Guess that's where they all hung out. Was it the Fitzroy Club in Coupling? Is that the name of the place? Did any of you see Coupling? Boy, that was a great show. I got to admit, Moffat was good back then. Pat S. So they might like Smith better than David T, but nobody is better than Baker. And I assume you mean Tom. And good to see you, Matt, buddy. And Pat, buddy. Yeah, well, Tom Baker just is the gold standard, baby. Nah, let's keep talking. Doctor Who, says Ezra. Oh, I'm game. Hell yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. Biggest waste was not letting Wilford have a turn at being a companion. Agreed, Fanty. Wilford's great. Matthew Pounder, I did watch Jekyll one time, and it was good by Moffat. I loved the Sherlock show for a while there, but she didn't do enough of it. But Jekyll was really good. Jekyll was a good show. I liked it. That guy was great as Jekyll. He could have played the Doctor, that guy, whatever his name was. Can't remember his name. Max Russell said Tom Baker, Colin Baker, Pip and Jane Baker. Yes. Brought there with you, mate. I wrote there with you. Well, it's good to see you there, Pat. So yeah, Pip and Jane Baker. Pip and Jane Baker were better writers than you, Chibi. That's the one. Those are the ones that's when Chibi is a kid, when they that famous scene on whatever talk show that was. Well, I'm sorry, chat show that was in the UK, where he was trashing or he was criticizing Pip and Jane Baker. Like he was like a snotty nosed little kid. It's like, you know what? They're better writers than you then, and they're way better writers than you now, you little shitbag. Chibsy Wibsy. Screw Chibi and his what a dirtball. Yeah, he just got the people. What's your next Blake 7 episode? Is it Project? Yes, Adrian, next week. No, we won't be reviewing one tomorrow night, but we start back business as usual next week from tomorrow night for the Blake 7 reviews, and it will be Project Avalon. Love it, by the way. Spoiler alert, great episode. Oliver Belamonte. Hey. Says, Clobby, which of the 80s underrated or which of the 80s underrated or unpopular sci-fi films would you, Mark and Raquel, like to review on the Clubhouse? Well, that's a good question. Let's see if we could pick one from the 80s. Now, underrated or unpopular? Underrated or unpopular? I'd be open to suggestions because I can name a lot of 80s movies that I love, but if your criteria is sci-fi, which is okay, but underrated or unpopular? Do I have one that's underrated or unpopular? Well, in a sense, it's not necessarily sci-fi, more like a sci-fi fantasy comedy, but it's not underrated by fans. I was going to say Buckaroo Banzai. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. But is it overrated at this point? I don't think so. And it's not unpopular. It's just at the time it was. Oliver, I'd be open to suggestions, buddy, and that would be fun to do. I could pick a lot of movies from the 80s to review. Matthew Bennett says Mark of the Ronnie was better than anything Chib scribbled. Yes, I love Mark of the Ronnie. Was that Pip and Jane? Okay. James Nesbitt played Dr. Tom Jackman in Jekyll. Yes, James Nesbitt, right? He was great. That was a great show. I liked that show. I've watched that forever. But that's an interesting question, Oliver. I would have to think of it. First of all, it would have to be sci-fi, like you say, and something that's unpopular or underrated. Space Raiders. Adrian, really? Isn't that a Roger Corman movie from the 80s? Space Raiders, where now, I love Battle Beyond the Stars. We might do that one, but is that considered underrated or unpopular? It's not unpopular. It's very popular. It's even out on Blu-ray. I love it. Even I have the Blu-ray. Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone. Not one I liked all that much. I guess we could review it though. I know Cherry 2000. I remember that vaguely, Pat. I remember that vaguely. Hey, DJ Play Nice. Have a good night. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. Dune. Oh, man. Hey, Midnight Says, what's up, dude? Tom. So, Alejandro, you would want us to review Dune? That would mean I'd have to watch Dune again. I know you're talking about in the 80s Dune. Oh, I couldn't sit through that again, man. Don't make me do that, please. Leviathan was terrible. There's one, but it's underrated, but it sucked. What you doing, Tom? Did you get some rest, dude? Yeah, I'd say come in and hang out, but you might be tired. So I don't know. I don't want to put you out, but you're more than welcome to if you'd like. Oh, we forgot Magnus Greel. That's true. That's a good one. Let the talons of Wing Chang shred your flesh. Yep, that's a great. Of all the Doctor Who villains we mentioned, we forgot Magnus. Damn us. And Wing Chang, for that matter. Although he wasn't really the. We did say Sutek, though, so we're covered there. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, by the way, I've heard something about that. Alejandro says, I got to see 4K release. Oh, look. Hey, Tom, if you feel like it, man, the window's open. I will send you a link there. But only if you feel up to it, man. That's all that matters. Where you at? Anyway, you will have a You now have a link, sir. Like I said, I think it went through. So I got to see the 4K release of The Abyss on the 6th in theaters. You know, Alejandro, I hear that's not going to be. Okay, you got a link now, Tom, buddy. I hear that's not going to be released in the UK. Did you hear why? A buddy of mine sent me a thing on that today. Let's see. Oh, he said they canceled The Abyss coming out in 4K on Blu-ray in the UK next March, according to the Digital Bits, because they wanted the studio to remove the scene where the rat is forced to breathe underwater. The studio said no way. It'll still be available everywhere else. Ain't that nice? Ain't that grand? Pretty silly, really. I don't know. Crazy stuff, huh? I don't even get that. Why? What? Why? I mean, it's not like the movie wasn't shown over there before, right? Enemy Mine, Enemy Mine's a good one to review. Like I say, may have to release, how about Moontrap with Walter Koenig and Bruce Campbell? Gwagnar says, oh boy. I'll tell you what we'll do. We will do like for once a month, I think. We'll review. We'll put a poll up, and I guess the only way to fair is to let you guys vote on it. What's up, Tom? What's up, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Popping in, man. Good to see you.
Glad to be here. I see you talking about The Abyss a little bit.
Yeah, I'll get back to that in a second. I was going to tell him what we'll do, because I appreciate the question, Oliver. What we will probably do then, I guess, is since we'll come up with 4, and we'll put it to the chat, and we'll let you all vote on it, and then we'll review it. We'll still do our normal reviews of the Clubhouse, like our Blake 7 episode and our Star Trek comic review. But we can throw a movie on there once, at least once or twice a month. Because remember, Kel used to review 3 or 4 movies, so when we were doing it, so it'll be an 80s movie, a science fiction movie if you want. That'll work. Yeah, it's the 4K Abyss Blu-ray or whatever coming out. 4K coming out in March. A buddy of mine sent me a text on it, says that the UK won't allow it to be released over there because of that freaking scene with the mouth.
Yeah, I guess Lightstorm refused to cut it, even though Disney said they would. But here's the thing that has me worried about that is that Disney would have cut it probably for every region, because I highly doubt they would have done extra discs just for the UK, completely different cut. They don't really do that shit anymore. So, yeah, I don't know. It kind of had me worried.
That is, at least it'll be over here. Hey, Sean Carter, what's up, buddy? Welcome. Good to see you, man. So at least you can get it over here, though.
Yeah, and you can import it to the UK.
Yeah.
4K is usually region free. So
is that going to have the original ending and that crazy the alternate ending that they put on somewhere? With,
I think it's supposed to have both versions of the movie on it. As far as what's on it for special features yet, I have no idea. So you get both the theatrical and the extended cut or whatever.
Yeah. I've always, a lot of people always talk about, when I walked out of the theater when I first saw that film in '89, such a good movie, but a lot of people didn't like the ending.
Honestly, it's not a movie I've seen since it originally came out, because I was not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
But I was also like a kid still when it came out, so.
I probably haven't watched it since I saw it, maybe on TV once, maybe. So yeah. Nothing. I liked it fine, but I don't really. Yeah, it's not one of those I watched over and over again. So that must mean I wasn't the biggest. Because we are those, geeks are usually, if they really like it, they watch it over and over again. So
yeah.
But anyway, that would be interesting to see what they did do to it there. Special edition is cut and they screened it at the theater, says Alejandro. Oh, okay. There you go. I like the 500-foot tall tsunami ending, says Max. I think I saw that one time. I think they showed that on the Syfy channel or something, if I'm not mistaken. Alienation, that's one, Matthew. We'll gather up 4 and we'll let people vote on it tomorrow night. And we'll pick, and there'll be 80s movies. How about that? But it was tough to come up. I can come up with like a zillion 80 movies that I love, but you put the stipulation sci-fi and it has to be unpopular, underrated. That's so vague. It's kind of, that's what Oliver was asking. Said that would, Raquel and Mark would I would review.
Well, there's a few things you could fit into that category. It just depends on what you mean by underrated or
right. That's a subjective term.
Yeah.
And unpopular. Yeah.
That's a different, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah.
You mean unpopular because people didn't like it, or just unpopular because people don't know about it?
Or there wasn't big, I guess. That could be it too. Like it wasn't like the biggest hits and stuff. But as far as the underrated, that's something that's unquantifiable, really.
I mean, I guess some of that I would think of as far as straight up sci-fis. Like I seen Enemy Mine mentioned earlier. That's a good one.
But was it really that unpopular? Maybe it was.
At the time, it did all right, but it's kind of fallen off because of it just has not been released in the US all that much. No, I have the import Blu-ray,
a lot, so we probably will do that one.
There's that one. There's like Runaway with Tom Selleck that kind of fell off the zeitgeist a bit.
Oh, there's one. I didn't like that. I saw it at the theater.
So there's one. Yeah, see, that's kind of, it's mixed. Trying to think of some other ones.
That's fair enough. There were plenty, probably.
Oh, yeah.
When you get down to it.
Yeah, you get down to it and you start thinking about it. Ice Pirates is another good one.
I'm the only one that thought that was not that. I saw it at the theater and I was like, this is kind of.
I mean, it's one that you can tell. I just have kind of
popular now.
Yeah, it's kind of come back into the popularity. It was weird because that was one of the first movies I remember seeing in the theater, but I couldn't remember what movie it was for years. And then I happened to catch a piece of it on TBS one night, and I was like freaking out trying to figure out what it was because like, this is the movie. This is it. It's like, you have this thing just imprinted in your brain. And what it was the scene where I believe it's Hellboy, what's his name? Ron Perlman gets his hand chopped off by the door laser thing.
Okay.
And that stuck in my head for years. I was like 4 years old when I saw it, and I couldn't figure out the movie. And I would tell my parents about it, and they're like, "I don't know what movie you're talking about." I'm like, "You were there. We went to the movies and something." And then and it just finally come on TV one time, and
I got you. Yeah, Princess Fiona, good to see you, my dear. Hey there.
Cocoon's another good one, but I think that was very popular when it came out.
But that was a monster hit. Alejandro, I love Time After Time, but yes, it was 1979. But still,
that's a good one. Yeah,
I don't think it's underrated either. Well, it's maybe not as known as it used to be. And I'm someone who has a lot of problems with Nicholas Meyer in a lot of ways, but I love that movie.
What about something like Alien Nation or?
Yeah, someone mentioned that. That would be one.
That was popular, but it's kind of fallen off again. Another one.
Remember, for years it was announced in Starlog as Outer Heat.
Is that what they called it? Outer Heat?
For a while. That was in Starlog.
I get it, but it's kind of like, I don't know, but not.
Yeah, they had movies called Red Heat, Dead Heat, and Outer Heat coming out at the same time around that. Yeah. Why do I remember stupid shit like that? But earlier I was trying to, I lost train of thought like 3 different times on when we're talking about Doctor Who. It's so silly. But yeah, Future Cop Tom Selleck battles Gene Simmons, an evil scientist who has unleashed a torrent killer robots of unsuspecting. Is that a synopsis or something there, Max? Well, I went to the theater to see that crap, I think. You liked it, Fiona, though? You liked that in Runaway? Michael Crichton movie, right? Kirstie Alley's in that, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in that.
That's true. Body, I forgot
Gene
Body.
Simmons is in it too.
Yeah. That was a time where we have no conception back then, because if it was a science fiction, especially a TV show, which were far more rare, right? You got more movies. Usually, if it's a science fiction movie, you went to see it because it was in Starlog talking about it, and you almost didn't miss it if you were any kind of a geek at all that liked science fiction stuff. And if you told me back in 1982, 3, 4, whatever, one day in the future, if you'd told me we'd have flying cars and all that shit, I'd believe you. If you told me there would be a time when there would be so many science fiction shows on television and movies made that they'll be passe. You won't want to watch every single one of them. I'd be like, no way. Oh no, I'd watch them all no matter what. Now they're like zillions of them, but back then you got one shot, especially TV. If you got one science fiction show on the fall schedule, you're like, well, I'm watching that, even if it does look kind of stupid. And it would last like less than a year because it always get chopped. You know. Anything genre
I
like
remember
that
happening too, and some other stuff. Yeah, like
Battlestar,
like you're saying.
Oh my God, Holly Hunter, Heart Beeps with Andrew Kaufman.
Yes, there you go. There you go.
I still can see in my head that stupid Starlog cover with that on it.
Oh Lord.
Fiona,
I actually have the original VHS of that.
Do you really?
Reason.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched it though.
I found it and it was such an old VHS. I'm like, I gotta have that just because. I think it was like 50 cents, but yeah.
Oh my God. I still have the Starlog though. I just introduced my Mark Days here. What's up, Duder?
Hey.
One of Andy Kaufman's weirdest performances ever. Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Good to see you. Good to see you. Merry Christmas.
Agreed, Fiona. I love Time After Time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, that's a classic. Great movie. Yep.
I love talking to Nicholas Meyer about that.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's right. You mentioned you talked to him before. I have issues.
Yeah, the interview's on.
That's right. You got an interview. Yeah. Oh shit! I forgot all about that.
I nailed it with I got that was our biggest thing ever, probably because we got write-ups about because that was when fresh off STD kicking off. And he couldn't answer certain things or he danced around it. But then I got him in a corner because I asked him what he worked on, and he's like, "Oh, well, we all worked on different things." And then let's just say we got our hands on the versions that he and Brian wrote compared to what we got. Like none of the shit that he wrote is in the show. So them putting him on as a consultant, I don't know what the fuck he actually did.
Oh, Brian
Payoff, probably, right? Yeah.
No. Nicholas Meyer, because remember he was actually listed as a consultant for that first season. Remember?
I didn't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was because he just worked on the first couple pilot episodes with Brian, but after that, they didn't use any of his shit. Like it was all completely rewritten and stuff. I mean, a lot of that stuff was still there, like in the original pilot episode. Like certain things were the same, like Mikey Spock and some other shit. But you know, at the end of the day, it was just like, yeah, they clearly just used his name. But I got him in a corner because I was like, well, here's my issue with the show, and I can't get my head around it. Is this is supposed to be a prequel? You know, the younger versions of the characters we know. You know, and we talked a little bit about him writing part 2 and part 4 and part 6. And I said in part 4, you specifically, because he talks about the parts he wrote was all the stuff on Earth. He's like, what's his face wrote all the other space stuff, and I wrote the stuff on Earth. And I'm like, well, when you get to Earth, a big point you keep making is that they don't talk like that in the future, to where Spock even, you know, refers to them with colorful metaphors, and he doesn't know how to swear. Right? Like you have the double dumb acid and stuff on like that on you. And I said, how do you justify that with the new show where everybody's just throwing around 4-letter words like it's no big deal? Because up to that point, he had been a little combative with me. And I can tell he's a rough interview.
Yeah.
Because he's a really smart guy. And he goes, you know what, Tom? He goes, that is one of the best questions anybody has ever asked me. And his tone completely changed from that point on, because he got real antagonistic with me at first. It's kind of, not all of it's in the interview, but like, because he got to a point, he was like, well, what is it you want here? Like, what are you trying to get? Because it's like, because he could tell I was fishing. And I'm like, fuck, I got to change my strategy. And it was so weird because I'd been talking to him for months and it was just messages. And I'm like, let's do this interview. Like, I want to talk to you about this, that, and the other, and da-da-da-da-da. He's like, all right, well, you got to read my book first. So I read through a bunch of his book, but I'm like, I know most of this shit already. So I'm like, so I kept asking him when we're going to do it. And we had a scheduled date. So I knew I had to read the book by this scheduled date. And he turned around and he messages me and he's like, I can't do it on that day. We're going to have to reschedule. I'm like, well, when do you want to do it? He's like, how does now sound?
Put it in the box, right?
Yeah, I'm like, great. I try to get a hold of Andre, and of course, at that time, Andre was still working, and I'm like, Nicholas Meyer wants to do the interview now.
Wow.
I'm like,
wow.
He's like, do it. He's like, get on it. I'm like, yeah. He gave me his phone number. I just got to call him or whatever, and blah blah blah. And like, he wants to do it over the phone too. He doesn't know. I don't think he knows how to run any of this other shit. So it was like all just kind of spur of the moment when it kind of happened like that. But like, yeah, it'd been something I'd been working on for months. And then just like that, he's just like, now. So like Andre and I were like, we wonder what happened behind the scenes. Because we were well known by that point. And we were even surprised that he was still even talking to us.
Very surprised.
Because he even kept asking me at first who we are. And I sent him our thing and all that stuff and who we were and even some of our videos and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of where some of the antagonism come in. But the fact that he just all of a sudden decided he was going to do this interview, Andre's like, something went and happened behind the scenes.
Well,
and I mean, he had told us a little bit about the con stuff, right? Because that was one of the things that got us a write-up, because that was where we first heard about the con prequel.
The con script, yeah.
And I think at that point is when they killed that for him. Because you can kind of tell that he's like, that's not happening now or whatever, basically, it sounded like, or whatever in so many words. But like, yeah. But now eventually they worked it out to where they're going to do it as a audio play. But I'm like, to me, that's the biggest fucking. Sorry, pardon my French. I don't know if you swear.
Right. Don't worry about it. It's cool.
Yeah, but like a mini series, but okay. But we don't want a whole series on con or do you know?
Well, that's what it was going to be. Was a mini series. Yeah,
it's been mini series.
To answer what Fiona asked me, what was my problem with Nicholas Mayer? It's simply this. First of all, as a Sherlock Holmes fan, most Sherlock Holmes fans have a problem with him. That terrible 7% Solution book he wrote. And he even wrote the screenplay for the movie. I don't like what he did to Sherlock Holmes in it, but I think it's atrocious. But I mean, he's a great writer. There's no question about it. You know, it's, time after time. You know, his writing in some of the in Wrath of Khan and even in Trek 4. I don't like Trek 6, but that's another thing. However, and I don't do politics on this show, so I would go very limited in what I'll say. Simply that, you know, wherever you lean politically, as long as you're good with everyone else being entitled to their own opinions, that's fine. Whereas Ben Shapiro gave an interview to Ben Shapiro, and Ben Shapiro he asked him point blank, you know, do you believe there's blacklisting in Hollywood? And a lot of the other people that Shapiro interviewed hemmed and hawed, said, oh no, that doesn't happen. Blacklisting of people of a certain political bent, right? I think you know what I mean. Well, he was the one guy that I'll give him some credit, was kind of honest about it. Meyer said, yeah, and it should be. You know, they shouldn't have Republicans in Hollywood and conservatives, and he hated them. And he was up front. He was for.
It's funny you mention that.
Blackballing people.
Because this is something that I don't think anybody else knows besides me and Andre.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go back and look and see if I still have it, but there's a whole portion of that interview that did not make it to air. And that was him just going off on Trump.
Oh, well, that figures, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because it was just, at that point, it was just, we weren't even really even remotely too deep into the political things yet anyway, but at that point it was like definitely not going to be on the show. But a lot of the people we interviewed, they would go off on Trump, or we're all pro Hillary / Biden at the time too. And I heard a lot of, you'd be surprised how these people fucking talk. They talk just like they do in fucking person.
Yeah.
Like they act like this guy's the Antichrist and shit.
And I don't mind having their opinions, but he flat out, it's one thing if he said, you know, he didn't even try to hide it though. He said, yes, it should be blackballed. If you're of that political stripe, you shouldn't be allowed to make movies. And that's why I have no respect for him. And not just what he did to Sherlock Holmes.
I didn't even know that part, but like, yeah, I had not heard about that.
He said, well, see, Shapiro did a book called Primetime Propaganda in 2011, which is an interesting book where he interviewed tons and tons of people from Hollywood. His father grew up in Hollywood, you know, worked in Hollywood, made, you know, musicals and stuff. And, you know, he was upfront about who he was. He showed his, you know, he went to some of these interviews wearing his Harvard cap, but he would tell them who he was. He wasn't trying to trick anybody, and they just didn't know who he was. Some of them didn't like that he did it, but other ones, you know, would lie to him, say, no, there's no bias, in Hollywood towards the left, which of course is silly. There is, but again, he was one of the few that was up front, and I just think it's sinister. I was like, yeah, there should be blackballing. That again, if he's someone that says, look, you're entitled to your opinion, even if I think you're wrong, that's one thing, but. And that's as far I'll go into the politics, folks. We don't do politics here. But even if I agreed with his politics 100%, I still am not for blackballing anybody. And that's
I mean, honestly, I can't believe that the people that are all for this, and this is not just Nick, this is for anybody, that the people who are all for this are the same ones who like to call Hollywood out for the McCarthyism of the past.
Yeah, yet they're McCarthyites.
And then that's exactly what they're fucking doing.
Oops.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't mean to
That's
swear
that's
again.
cool.
I'm
That's
sorry.
cool. Don't worry about
I
it.
don't know if are you okay to swear on your channel?
I don't do it much. You know, when it happens.
Okay, I'll try to curb it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's not a problem, brother.
Only if someone mentioned Star Trek Discovery.
Well, yeah, that's cussing right there. But yeah, so basically, I won't do any more political stuff.
Did you listen to the show this morning, Clobby? Speaking of Star Trek,
I just wanted.
Oh God, because me and Paulie got into it about Zack Snyder, and he made me invoke J.J. Abrams as a better director, and I had to sit there and try and defend J.J. Abrams in that respect. I'm like, I won't do that. I said I should have picked a better fucking choice. Well, at the end of the day, I still would say J.J. Abrams still makes better, more coherent movies that you can actually see.
But it was on.
They may not be good, but you can see what's going on.
Look, well, that's an interesting thing to address. First, I'll say
he's at least had two original things that were decent. I mean,
I actually want to address that because it's a fascinating question. I just say that no, Fiona. Look, I'm saying everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just don't like people being blackballed, and I think he's disgraceful for having that position. But that's all the politics I'll do here.
I agree.
I gotta say, you know what? I hate you for this, Tom, but I may have to defend Zack Snyder because
I don't know about that.
I think he's made more good movies than Jar Jar Abrams because Jar Jar Abrams have never made a good movie, in my opinion.
Well, and here's where
I thought 300 was at least an entertaining.
That's one of the ones I brought up, Mark. Well, here's the thing, though, and here's where my argument comes from. Nothing, and I mean nothing that Zack Snyder has done has ever been original. Sans his new movie. His Army of the Dead, which was technically most people thought was a sequel to Dawn of the Dead anyway. And his Sucker Punch, which Sucker Punch is just a ripoff of anime stuff.
Horrible movie.
This new movie is just a Star Wars. Actually, it's more of a Battle Beyond the Stars ripoff. It's the same basic plot. 7 Samurai in space, right?
Yes.
I said as far as originality, J.J. Abrams, for better or for worse, has at least done some original things between his television work regarding Henry and 8mm. I said those few things alone are more original than anything Zack Snyder has ever put on screen. Like Alias, Lost, regardless of how you feel about them, they were huge hits, right?
They're both terrible directors. I mean,
absolutely. They're both the bottom of the freaking barrel. That's for sure.
Awful. But as far as if I had to name a movies that if I just had to go by that, like who has the more.
But you have a Star Trek bias. See, where I have more of a Superman bias, probably.
Yeah, no, I have a Superman. I have a worse Superman bias than I have Star Trek bias.
That's true. But like level. That's where he's unforgivable is what he did to Superman. Man, like that to me.
Yeah, Man of Steel, I hate even more than I hate just by a sliver, almost the same level of 09 filthy.
I can at least sit through Trek. Like if somebody goes, you got a choice, puts a gun to my head. You got to watch either Star Trek 09 or Man of Steel. I'm choosing Star Trek 09 all damn day.
I think Man of Steel. Man of Steel I hate the most of all of his movies. In fact, almost all the movies ever made, except for maybe Fantastic or maybe more and Last Jedi. Movies like that.
I'd watch Into Darkness over Man of Steel, Clobby.
I would. I would too, because Into Dumbness is funny bad.
That's what I mean. At least it's entertaining, even though it's bad. You can even say that about Rise of Palpatine. It's a freaking horrible film, but it's almost Mystery Science Theater 3000 bad.
09 Trek is not funny. It's just terrible. Into Dumbness is so laughably bad.
I like the cast. That's where I can accept that. See,
when Benedict Cumberbatch says the words, "My name is Khan," I fell.
That part. Yeah,
I was sitting on the couch because we downloaded it. There was no way I was going to go to the theater to risk an aneurysm. And so when he did that, I'm on the floor. I can't breathe laughing. And then later, when I'm calmed down, when Spock Boy yells, "Khan!" again, I'm on the floor. I thought I was going to have a heart attack and die. I was laughing. I'm not mad anymore because I've had plenty of years to be pissed off at that point. I'm laughing.
I think karma's kind of showed its way. Yeah.
But it's so funny at this point because they've already destroyed Star Trek. It's not real Trek anyway.
No. Well, and see, did I ever tell you
Men
the
of
story
Steel's
about?
Not funny though.
No, it's a fucking wretched watch.
Horrible.
Have I ever told you the story about Trek 09 and me though?
I don't know.
Okay, when I went to see it, I didn't want to see it, just like you guys. Like I saw the trailer and I'm like, fuck that.
I had to pirate that one because I can't go to the theater to I would have been in trouble.
All right,
I would have been uncontrollable.
I'll give you a story about the second film too, which is hilarious, but that kind of goes off of the one you just said. But the first, just so you know kind of where I'm at with this and why I had that reaction, you almost have to know this. Because I went to that movie kicking and screaming. Like my girlfriend at the time's like, I want to go see that. And she would always get to pick like every other movie, right? This is why I ended up getting to go see fucking Under the Tuscan Sun.
My wife said we had to watch The Crying Game, so then I made her watch Outlaw Josie Wales.
Oh, good job.
Good
like Outlaw
fair
Josie
trade.
Wales.
That's a good
movie. That's not fair. Isn't that suck though? When you're like, God dang it, I made you watch this because I thought it would torture you, and you freaking liked it. Of course you liked RoboCop because it's a masterpiece.
Nice.
You can't expect me to watch Under the Tuscan Sun again. You know what's going on under the Tuscan Sun? A whole lot of nothing for 2 hours. That's what. I was so pissed at that movie. She goes, you didn't like the movie? I said, I would have never spent that kind of money to watch that movie ever. She was so upset with that. But anyway, so like same girlfriend, but like, so she goes, oh, I want to see that new Star Trek movie. And I'm like, I don't. She's like, why not? You like that Star Trek-y stuff. You got all the movies and stuff. I'm like, for every reason you want to go see that, I don't. She's like, it looks fun though. I'm like, exactly. Star Trek is not exactly supposed to be fun in quotations. It's supposed to be Star Trek, right? Yep. And I'm like, that's not Star Trek. And you're never going to convince me anybody but William Shatner is Kirk. You're never going to convince me anybody but Leonard Nimoy is Spock, and so on down the road.
Yes.
Now,
exactly.
Sitting in the movie theater for 20 minutes, I'm pissing and moaning about the whole movie. Probably worse than I did about Under the Tuscan Sun.
Wow.
And so she's getting antsy with me, and she's like, look, if you're not liking it, we can leave. I'm like, no. I mean, I don't mind this kid. He's all right. He's not quite Kirk, but he's all right.
He's not
and the
Kirk.
guy they got playing Spock is pretty good. So let's stick with that for now. I'm like, all right, I can handle this for now. It's not too shabby. At that time, I didn't hate JJ either, right? I barely knew who he was. And I'm sitting here thinking this guy would make a great Star Wars movie.
By the way, it's Jar Jar around here. That's
I know. I understand. And I
I'm
apologize.
just teasing. Go ahead.
No, it's totally fair. It's your house. So Jar Jar, I didn't even really know who he was all that much at this point. But like at this point, I'm sitting here saying stuff, and I'm not kidding. Like this guy should direct a Star Wars movie, not a Star Trek movie. After watching the trailer, but little did I know that was a bad idea. But
yeah, exactly.
So I'm watching it, and the moment it sold me, and I know you don't, and I think maybe this is why I'm not sure if I think I told you the story, Clobby. The moment that sold me was when what's his face comes in as Bones, and I know it's not the
Carl
same
Urban,
exact version, but Carl Urban comes in.
You're not the only one that said this, by the way.
And he as soon as he come on screen, because I knew that was going to be the toughest one, right? Because in every version we've ever seen on Star or of SNL on Star, where they make fun of Star Trek or any of that stuff, it's easy to get Kirk and Spock. Nobody can do Bones. Nobody. But Carl Urban came in and convinced me that he's a version of Bones. Not the Bones, but a version of Bones. Right? And I'm like, okay, that's not exactly, and that's the first thing I said. Well, that's not how he got his name, but I'm kind of surprised
People
this guy
love that scene in the movie theater.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm afraid of dying and things that fly. Like that whole scene sold it for me. And then the scene after that with him and Kirk, where he's giving him the medicine in his hand. And I know if to some Star Trek fans, that's going to turn you off. But what it did for me in the beginning was they set it in a completely different timeline, Clobby. So that also helped me kind of go like, okay, this is not the same timeline, and it's not overtaking the other timeline because they had the old version of Spock universe. Yeah. Exactly. So they even admitted or acknowledged that it is an alternate version. And that's where going into Star Trek Into Darkness, the stuff I heard about it going into it, I'm like, all right, so they're actually playing with the idea that this is a more militant version of Starfleet now because of what Nero had done before. So this is a completely different timeline. But we all knew that it was Khan, and it was a Khan, a CONKHAN.
Yeah.
And if I didn't stand up and go, you lying motherfucker, in the theater when he goes, Khan is my name, I'm like, you lied to us. That was the moment I got pissed at Jar Jar Abrams for the first time. Because up to that moment, I was like, okay, this movie's okay, but are they doing Space Seed or are they doing Wrath of Khan? Because then in all actuality, this should technically be Spacey, but they disrupted that timeline. But how did they know he was out there? Like, they didn't answer those questions for me, but it has a couple of good scenes in it that I was kind of still hung up in the movie that I'm like, okay, because one of the scenes that I love is the scene in where they're all having the big meeting, right?
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
And it's the Godfather 3 scene, right? It is. It's a flat rip off of the Godfather 3 scene.
130.
But yeah, where he figures out, oh shit, we've got a bunch of important people in one place at one time. Something bad's about to happen, right? Like, this is a setup. Like, and that's probably one of the better scenes. And I love Peter Weller's character in it.
Well,
like,
that was what Kirk actually showed some Kirk-like intelligence for a few minutes in that scene. That's towards the beginning of the movie in that conference room. Like, wow, they actually kind of got his character for a few minutes, and then it's all downhill after that.
Right, right.
There's like one glimmer of hope, you know, like actually they're showing how smart Kirk is in this scene. And
which, like I said,
you know,
I saw it right away as a rip off of the Godfather 3 scene, but I'm like, it's great. It's utilized perfectly. And you know, those are the kind of scenes I like, is like you said, when a character's like smart like that and they realize it, like, oh shit, and it's too late. Right? Because that's the same thing that happens in the Godfather 3 is Andy Garcia character figures it out. He's like, oh shit, it's too late. You know, and almost everybody gets killed. But yeah, it just the movie itself, though, like you said, once they do the con thing, once you have the people in the torpedoes and crap, what the frick is that?
Well, I'm sorry, you've opened the for blood pressure reasons. I'm going to have to do this. I don't like doing it. I wouldn't have a show. We would know each other. None of us would know each other without that piece of shit. No,
that's very true.
How I got started. But that's how I got started. But would you believe it or not? Would you believe me if I told you that I actually do love Star Trek Into Darkness? Would you believe me if I told you that?
No,
I do love it.
But it's for MST3K reasons.
Nope. You've kind of hit on why. And now I have to. I cannot say that without explaining.
Oh, now I'm intrigued as hell.
I love that movie, and I'll tell you why. In 2009, the hell I went through, being attacked by a lot of people on Trek Space, having death wished on me a million times before the movie even came out. A lot of these things led up to me starting the show, having them trying to take me off of Blog Talk Radio, having all these people and back then, what little press they had, I was quoted. I kept getting quoted in one of those Yahoo services and stuff, wanting to interview me just because everyone hated my guts because I was just dead set against the remake of Star Trek. And so I went through a lot of fights over it. In fact, I even lost some friends over this goddamn thing because they thought I was insulting them when I was trashing the movie, and I wasn't. I mean, joking aside, I will never be mean to a person for liking something I don't love. So after the first couple of you're different, of course. First couple of months, when finally, when all the argument I was getting through to people saying, they would finally say, okay, you're right, it's not Star Trek. I kind of like it, but I see what you're saying. In other words, I finally made some headway, convincing people of one thing. To admit that it's not really legitimate Star Trek, and it has no Star Trek heart, no Star Trek soul, no Star Trek intelligence. Other than it is in name only Star Trek. It is not Star Trek for real. And then we would have these conversations in the early months of the movie coming out. After it came out, people going to see it over and over again because it's just called Star Trek. And a lot of them said, "Well, you know what? I hear you. I know what you're saying, but I get it. These aren't the characters, but." Man, if they touch Khan, I'm really going to be pissed off. Well, that set me off. I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You're going to tell me that Khan, look, I love Khan as much as the next guy, but he's been in one episode in one movie. They can ruin the original characters and shit all over Real Trek, but Khan's a bridge too far? Screw that crap. But they were saying stuff like, oh, they better not mess up Khan. I hope he doesn't even touch Khan. So here you get a few years go by, right? The year before the movie came out, Jar Jar Abrams came out and he cast Benedict Cumberbatch. I liked him on Sherlock. He was fine. And I was like, okay, well, he's a skinny British dude. They're probably not going to make Khan. He said, no, his name's John Harrison. He's not Khan. Now, on the original, in the first movie, whether you like them or not, I don't like any of the cast, but they look close enough to younger versions of the characters where you would think if he was going to cast Khan, people were always thinking about if he cast Khan, they're going to cast someone at least close to the Ricardo Montalban look, right? That would make sense if you're going to cast Khan, even if I don't want there to be a remake. See what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the red herring was this.
Khan.
He heard for years. Remember, he had years to hear this. People were saying, "Oh God, he's going to ruin Khan," and he kept saying, "No, I'm not going to do Khan. No Khan, everybody. No Khan. 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 No
Well,
Khan."
there's a Khan, all right.
And everyone's like, "Sure." No, so he cast him, and even people who didn't believe him, like, "Well, I guess he's not." I mean, he wouldn't cast a skinny British dude as Khan, would he? So time goes on, and we enter into January, which was the same as the first film. The movie's is pretty much done by then, and some people have seen screenings. January in 09, the January of 09, before May when it released, I knew people that were getting to see the movie already, telling me things about it. 2 weeks before the movie came out in 09, they had an Australian premiere. Friends in Australia were telling me, because they leaked Wikipedia the quote-unquote plot synopsis of the whole movie. And I remember reading that in 09 going, wait a minute, this is a joke. There's no way they would film something that's stupid, right? And a friend of mine said, when he got to see it in Australia, no, that's really in the movie. And I'm like, no, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't make a movie this moronic and call it Star Trek. Oh, look, I'm telling you that. All right. So at 13, same deal. It gets to a couple of weeks out, and a same friend, he got to see it, and I said, so he's not Khan, is he? I mean, I said, there's no way he's really Khan, right? He goes, he's Khan. Come on, dude. Seriously? I'm telling you. And then the synopsis leaks, and they say everything in the movie, and I read it, and I'm laughing, going, no, there's no way they did this. They filmed that? I mean, really? This is a joke. I thought they were making it. Nope. So the movie comes out. I had to pirate it again because there's no way I was going to go to the theater. I had people saying, man, if they screw up Khan, well, of course, for weeks, everyone hated it. They loved the 09 shit, which trashed all of real Trek. Those characters already been ruined, the original Trek characters. But Khan gets screwed over, and everyone's having a panic attack and saying how horrible and bad the movie is. So the whole time I was watching it, all these people complaining about what was going to happen to Khan, I'm laughing at the movie. I'm not hating it. I'm like, it's so stupid. And now when he says, my name is Khan, I mean, I lost it. I couldn't believe how funny it is. So I can't take it seriously. It's not Trek anyway. And sure enough, the complaints online, they were pissed. Everyone hated it. It was getting bad press. This movie sucks. Everyone was bent out of shape for what they did to Khan, but they didn't give a shit in 09 when the whole cast was ruined by recasting and bad, stupid, idiotic story development and blowing up Vulcan and all this other dumb shit in that movie, Red Matter and Nero and all these horror. So I'm like, wait a minute. I was so happy to see them pissed off the way I was in 09. So in a sense, I love that movie got revenge for me because the damage was already done. And the dumbness was trash anyway. So it actually
not quite exactly where I expected it to go, but I am not surprised.
So I know I had to explain. Sorry.
No, I get it. I totally get it. I was just kind of like, I was just going to be like, okay, like if you actually liked it. No, you're fine.
No, I hate it. It sucks. It sucks, but I liked that it pissed off all the people who sucked the first movie off.
Yeah, because a lot of people did like that first movie, and maybe more normies did too. But then when that second movie came out, and you had Spock as the superhero jumping around between the cars, and then there's nothing earned there too. There's no relationship with Kirk
Spock getting all emotional and shit. Like,
it was garbage. Yeah, I was called an elitist and everything else, Alejandro. Oh, I've lost you. I'm sorry. So basically, what I'm saying is, I'm glad that it turned the tables on people who gave us. By the way, those of you who loved the first movie gave us the second one, incidentally. And so those who they got what they deserved, the revenge movie on them for betraying real Star Trek. And that's what, so the 09 is the punishment. 09 is the crime, and 13, the end of darkness, is the punishment. So I don't know. I just love that. I'm telling you, the anger coming forth from everybody online in 2013 when that movie came out, the same people who loved the first one, and they were all really bent out of shape. I was laughing. I just enjoyed it so much. I can't be. Beyond's a piece of garbage too, but yeah, I'm sorry. It's this. None of it's
beyond caring at that point.
Yeah, me either. Me too. It's terrible, but it's ineffectual. You watch it and go, "This is not Star Trek," so who cares? Wes Cagle.
Hey, Wes Cagle. But
I
yeah,
know.
because they're allegedly doing, trying to do something different in the universe. So they just tried to do Khan again and screwed it up.
Yeah.
Because you've got, like you said, Tom, there's no space seats, there's no emotional resonance between the characters of rivalry. What they could have done was made Khan a quote unquote a good guy, or done something different with him, and they just tried to do where
How about
people were
not make? How
laughing in
about
the
don't
movie theater.
remake the series at all? How about
That's
that?
true
Well,
too.
I agree with Clobby at this point, but going off of what you're saying, Mark, yeah, that would have made more sense because, like, okay, so what you're doing is intercepting Khan before Space Seed happened. So
Yeah.
you also have the Federation acting like an overcrazed, war-driven government now. So you're right. What you could have had is Khan and Kirk actually team up for
Yeah.
good reasons, and that would actually had given you, because that was the thing I was kind of going with Clobby, is like, look, at the end of the day, it doesn't undo the other films, right? Like, that's the great part about it, is like you can just have those films and they're doing their own thing, and the other movies still exist. In fact, they acknowledge them, like I said. So at that point, it's like, okay, do something different. Show me a different what if scenario because of
change
what
it up.
happened after the first movie. But then again, going back to the first movie, there's so much stupidity that even JJ was dumb enough to cut out the bit as to why they didn't do anything for 30 years or whatever it was. You know, it's like, why would you go back in time and not just stop the shit from happening in the first place, right? Well, then we learned from the deleted scenes that they got captured right away and they couldn't, and that's why. So that's why he still blamed Kirk or whatever. But you don't leave that in the movie. The audience is going, but wait a minute, you just literally went back in time.
Well, they never explained how they could time travel in the first place either. Nobody cares. What's up, Federation?
Yeah, see,
in other words, they basically said it's just red matter. If you use red matter, you can do anything from blow up a planet to go back in time.
Yeah.
And,
God.
It was. I
well,
mean,
that's
time travel
JJ
is problematic.
for you.
Well, time travel is problematic in Star Trek anyway. But at least when you do something like City on Edge Forever, it's different. But but the point is, it's not Trek. Trek belongs on television, and that's that. The movies. Look, I love Wrath of Khan. I love the movies, or the real, well, some of them, but none of them hold a candle to the best episodes of original series to me, and or the best of any of Trek. Trek in movies is a square peg in a round hole.
Well, the motion picture is the only one that's really
I love the motion
Star
picture.
Trek, yeah.
It's more like the TV show, but still,
I'd almost make an argument for 5 being like an episode 2, but yeah.
Well, the thing is, if we got in Star Trek Phase 2, the series, and if, of course, even though we know Nimoy didn't,
damn Star Wars,
damn Star Wars had to come on. But you know what? Star Wars couldn't be its own thing. Hollywood. If Star Wars hadn't come along, I guess we'd got a second Trek series, and it probably wouldn't have lasted that long. I don't know. Who knows? We'll never know, right? But we did get the other shows, the other iterations.
we did some, and the movies are, pretty damn good too, most of them. But I mean, you guys have heard this, I don't know if Tom has, but I got to see the world premiere of Wrath of Khan because Gary Nardino, who was I think he was the head of Paramount at the time, his niece went to my small Catholic school. So they had a choice between Grease 2 with Michelle Pfeiffer, who no one knew who she was, or Wrath of Khan. And I guess the nuns and the religious people didn't want anything to do with Grease. So thankfully,
I can understand that one, because the first movie is actually a sanitized version of that play. But
yeah. So they rented out a huge movie theater back when you had big movie screens. There were for the multiplexes in '81. So it was June 3rd. 1981, my sister's birthday. Sorry,
that's cool.
Jackie,
hey, Courtney.
And they got Leonard Nimoy to be there, so I got to meet Leonard Nimoy and get his autograph. And they had an auction of all kinds of Star Trek memorabilia, the ears. I kept begging my dad to, buy something, and he's like, "It's crap." He had an accent. He sounded like Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's all crap. It's all fake crap. And he worked on the space program. He's like, "It's all garbage. The Star Trek stuff is all garbage, Mark. It's garbage." So years later, I'm like, "Dad, look how much this stuff is worth." They had matte paintings, phasers, Kurt's belt buckle, uniforms, Spock's ears, all this great stuff. And it went, like the phaser went for $200 or something, but relatively cheap. Of course, it was 1981. But God, what a great night that was! And the movie theater, which is, it's packed and everyone's going crazy. And this was like, I got to see Star Trek before anyone else did, because all the rumors. It was there were some fan magazines and things, but this is before, obviously the internet and things can get spoiled. Although there were some rumors, but wow, that was a fun night. And I'll never forget, meeting Leonard Nimoy and him looking up, as a young kid, like hubba 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 hubba, what do you say? Like, hello, Mr. Nimoy, and you're speechless. But God, that was a great moment. So I have all kinds of memorabilia from that night, and yeah, it was a fun night. But yeah, when they did Into Dumbness, your Clobberin times, I can see why you were happy. You were vindicated with the.
I was.
Everyone finally realized how right you were about the first movie and the second movie.
Garbage rewarded is garbage repeated, folks.
Hey, Courtney's here.
Yeah, I said, hey, Courtney. Hey, what's up there? Yep. But yeah, but anyway, that's Trek is dead. So what are you gonna do? It's been murdered. Doctor Who, we talked about that earlier. That's been murdered. Star Wars, Marvel, you name it, it's all dead. Dead.
Well, maybe Pike can open a restaurant in space on the Enterprise, since his quarters now is like the size of a massive restaurant. Like when they shut down the Enterprise and they did Saturday Night Live with the Enterprise,
restaurant Enterprise,
Yeah,
that was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, Kirk's. I mean, you could put an Outback Steakhouse in Kirk's new quarters. It's so big.
You mean in Pike's?
Pike. Sorry, Pike. Yeah,
well, that's not real Trek either. That's
not real Trek either. Yeah.
Strangled Worms. It's all crap. P-Hard season 3 is crap. It's all crap. It's not all fake Trek. So there you go. Damn. So Tom, I was going to ask him. I was going to ask Tom something, but I can't remember what it was now. Oh, there. Whoa, what's that shirt, dude?
It's Monster Squad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Coolness. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice stuff, dude. Where have you been? Where've you been streaming tonight? Everywhere, huh? As usual.
Yeah. Started the morning on my channel. Then I did some Eat Radio. I hopped into Doomcocks for like 20 minutes. Then I had the physical media show around Fanzine's channel.
Oh, cool.
I do have a question about Superman the movie.
Yeah.
4K.
Should I get the 4K version? It's on sale on the Amazons, or should I get the 5? I know there's a difference. A 5 film collection. Wow, it's expensive, 214. But weren't you saying, or someone was saying that the 4K on the original 4K is better, or I can't remember what.
It depends on your sound setup. Do you have a 5.1 sound setup, or you just got regular?
Dolby. Dolby Atmos is.
Yeah. You can get them all separately, I think, as well. So like the better bet is, for some reason, I don't know why Warner Brothers did this. The original release that's by itself has the 70 millimeter 5.1 mix on it. It's the first time it's been available on home video. Because in the past they have taken the 5.1 mix and it's got a bunch of new sound effects and stuff mixed into it. People don't like they did with Batman. But for that one, they put the original 5.1 mix on there. But for some reason, they took it off on the one that's in the box set, and they put on the original 2-channel mix for some reason. Yeah. So, and that's been available before, but like, yeah, I don't know why they did that. But then you get the original all 4 films, of course, plus the Donner cut of part 2 in the box set. But I believe you can get them all separately as well. So, I mean, you can get them cheaper separately. I just go that route because that'd be the better version of part 1. Yeah.
Other than the niceties in the box or whatever.
Yeah. The swag is in there is the only difference. Yeah.
That recently come out with a new set or something, or?
Yeah, the 75th anniversary set, or whatever you want to call it. It's just the Christopher Reeve movies 1, 2, 3, and 4. But they had released the first film previously in 4K. But of course, it's still only the theatrical cut for some reason. But, yeah.
Wow, they don't have both of the other cuts.
You can get them separately if you want. I have
a Blu-ray.
It comes with the special edition on Blu-ray in the 4K.
Right.
But so it's the same one you already had. But yeah, and I've got the TV cut on Blu-ray.
The Blu-ray has a TV cut. The TV.
Well,
cut,
I have the full TV cut. The other one
and the other one. The full TV cut. Yeah, right.
Yeah, the 3-hour one. Yeah, I've got that too. Yeah.
I probably still have it on my original VHS tape that I recorded
off of TV.
Both those nights off of TV, buried somewhere.
Yeah, it was nice to finally get it. It's not one I'll watch that often just because it's not the best sound or picture quality, but I wish they would have done the Richard Donner cut, the special edition or whatever you want to call it in 4K,
Yeah.
because at least that has all the good scenes that matter out of the TV cut, basically.
He added some strange stuff to that one, but it was
Yeah, but
interesting. Still,
it's
it was
pretty
great
much
to see. Had some good stuff too. Yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's pretty much the TV cut, but it's cut down to 247 instead of
Yes.
3 hours. So he cuts out like another 10, 15 minutes of
Yes, he did.
ancillary crap. Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Now the Donner cut of 2, something one of these days. I don't know if you probably talked about it a lot, but one day I'm gonna have to do it. Just I wanted to do a show on that review of that.
Do you like it or don't like it, or I don't want to spoil it for
I like it, but there are things about it that are kind of weird.
Yeah. I wish they would have left that the cafe scene off at the end. Yeah, that's the one I got. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, here's the.
Yeah, that one's not cheap anymore. Unfortunately,
Got
too.
it.
That's the other thing. Yeah.
Did that go way up in price or?
It was limited. That's why. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so it's $215 now. Yeah.
What you get basically is like a certificate, a 3D lanyard thingy or whatever you call it with them on the Phantom Zone. It looks like they spinning around. The first issue of Superman 78 in a mini edition, and then a little collectible book. And it comes in a tin that looks like the Action Comics. That's it.
I remember when I had the big 2-album set of the soundtrack that spread there with them with Superman and Lois flying. That was when you open it up. That's what. Yeah. We still had that sucker.
So I got one. I think it's just one record. I remember right.
Back then it was I'm pretty sure it was a 2-album one.
Or lenticular, not land.
When it came out. When it first came out, anyway. I think so. Maybe I'm
not sure. I have to look. I have it.
No, it definitely was a spread. You spread the album out and it had that picture. Yeah.
That might be the one I have then, because I have the one of part 2 that has the hologram of the Super S on it.
Oh yes, Max. I think we've gone off. We talked about that a little before. Yeah, I hate the Lester cut. I just have some.
I can't stand that one.
Issues.
Not now anymore.
In 1981, when I walked out of the Lester cut, when I walked out of Superman 2, I was in denial. I was because Superman 1 I saw like 18 times at the theater in 78, 79, and I wanted to love this movie so bad. I had looked forward to nothing more in my life than seeing Superman 2. And we went to see it the first day, whatever. I was like,
I loved it, but after you see the Donner cut, you're like,
but
movie we could have had.
I was pissed. Right at first, I wasn't pissed. I was like, something's wrong. So I don't know exactly. I still love it. I gotta love it. I went back the next day, and it took like that, and then one more viewing, and I hated it. And I'm like, oh my god, I hate this movie.
I gotta, we've talked about this, but I loved it as a kid. But I think I was a 12-year-old.
I was a little older than you, but I guess.
Yeah. Once you get older, and once you see the Donner cut, and you see what's wrong with the other version, then you're like, oh yeah, and it's hard to watch it again because I rewatched it for the first time since the Donner cut had come out, so it's been like 15 years since I'd seen the theatrical cut in 4K, and I'm like, yeah, this does not hold up very well in comparison. If they just cut out the ending of the Donner cut,
the ending's terrible,
and they gave it the TV ending or something like that, it would have been better. Like that's the only thing that's really wrong.
Because the ending erases the movie.
Yeah, I hate that they have the world ending thing again. It's like either that or you should have done a special edition of the first film where you cut the 2 films together to where we have that ending that's on the beginning of part 2 at the end of part 1 so that the spinning back makes sense. But I agree with you, Clobby. I've never been a fan of that's the only thing that I think. I mean, you can kind of get away with it in the first film, but even then it's still kind of is Superman going back in time, really? Like
he erased the movie.
The whole movie of the second one, like at least in the first one he just goes back to where to stop the other bomb, and they don't really show it because they didn't film it.
It's but then again, see Superman 3,
I like Superman 3, unfortunately.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
I know a lot of people who hate that movie. I'm like, it is one of the most underrated Superman movies.
There's just some really unbelievable.
There is some doofy shit in it, but I love Gus Gorman's character. I love his plot.
I say I hate him.
And because I love Richard Pryor. I mean,
Well, I do
especially
love Richard Pryor. Yeah.
and I mean, now looking back, and if you watch it, to me, it's the one that feels the most comic booky besides the first one. If you kind of think about it.
The funniest thing that happened in that movie when I went to see it for the first time with a friend of mine, when I was running a comic shop, we went to see it that first night. We had this one buddy of mine who was such a Superman fanatic and loved the movie so much that he said he wasn't going. With Richard Pryor being there, it's just too much of a joke. He was no way. And we said, no, look, we'll go see it. We'll let you know how it is. Fine. But so we go see it. About quarter way into the movie, with some of his antics he's doing at the time, some woman on our row stands up and says, "What a shitty movie," and walks out. Boom. Never saw her again. And so we walked out, you know, I mean, I was like 19 or whatever. I was not happy. I was kind of, I didn't like it. We thought it was pretty stupid, but we said, let's tell him, you know, how much a great it is. So we said we can trick him into going to see it. Like a-holes. We tried, but we started laughing. And one of us screwed up and just kept, he said, yeah, sure. Because he'd been hearing the reviews, you know. So it's like, no, really, man, you'll like it. Yeah, you should go see it, dude. Nah, maybe not. So it didn't work out that way. Which is we're better for it.
It's too bad it gets so much hate, in my opinion, but
yeah, but you should have been. I just hate the fact it just, again, it's kind of problem they do with a lot of these things. It didn't need the comedy, and you could have just made it Brainiac instead of Gus Gorman making
it was supposed to be Brainiac, but
it should have been Brainiac. And
well,
for at least, I admit.
Well, at least they didn't use Clark or Superman as a joke. Usually, I mean, yeah, Clark has some funny moments, but I mean, that's one thing you got to say for the movie. At least they never make him a butt of the jokes. And
I like
Superman is always Superman in that movie. Gus is where all the jokes come from. So.
He's great, yes, and and
I love
when he fights himself was cool.
And I love what's his face, Vince Vaughn, or not Vince Vaughn, Robert Vaughn as the bad guy in it.
I love him, but could you just use Luthor again?
You could have, and it probably was meant to be, but
yeah.
At that point, Gene Hackman was probably like, "I'm done with this shit," because they had to give him a shit ton of money for the fourth one.
At least we had less Margot Kidder.
Yeah, well, she was just like, "Fuck you guys."
Which was a plus. Yeah. Yeah, buddy. And then there's
and I like her, and I stand by her standing with. She was the only one who stood with Donner.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Well, yeah, she is. She was.
I mean, at the end of the day, I mean.
Because Alejandro had a question. Yeah, did people know that Donner was fired in 81?
Most people didn't back then, I don't think. But.
Right?
The Salkinds were scumbags, though.
Yeah.
They had pulled the same trick years earlier. They did a couple of movies in the 70s called The Three Musketeers, which I saw at the theater. Then they did The Four Musketeers. But they filmed it all as one movie, and then split them into two movies and paid everybody for one movie.
Well, they got sued for that, yeah.
They got sued for it. Well, he tried it with Superman. They tried to stream Superman 1 and 2 together.
Well, didn't that case happen during the making of that? And that's where they figured out if they brought him back, they were going to have to pay him again. So they said, fuck that.
Yeah.
But they didn't get along anyway because Donner said in the papers, no less, this is what really fucked him. Instead of actually talking to the Salkinds himself, he said, if what's his face is ever on the set, I'm not coming back. It wasn't Salkind, it was the other guy.
One of the writers?
Oh, the other guy that was with the Salkinds, their partner.
Ilya or Alexander?
No, the other one. The other guy, the guy with the beard. Let me look it up here. Hang on.
I'm not sure which one it is. Was he a Salkind or somebody else?
No. He's part of the Salkinds, but he's not a Salkind. And he's the guy.
For one of those?
No, hang on.
Either way, that Pierre Spengler.
That's who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you, Donnie. There you go. Donnie put that in there.
Him and Donner, I guess, got into almost a fist fight once.
Thank you, Donnie.
And he said, if I ever see that son of a bitch on the set again, I'm going to kick his ass. And that's when Lester started coming in between. So for those who don't know, Lester actually was there early on during the end of making a part one. Because what happened was they were filming part 1 and 2 together. All the scenes that had Gene Hackman in it And all the scenes that had Marlon Brando had to get shot first for both part 1 and 2. So they did those right away.
Right.
And this is probably all the other. Actually, this is not probably. This is the other reason why they didn't use Brando in part 2, because he wanted a bunch more money for his footage for part 2, and they said, "Fuck you."
Oh man, this is
anyway.
It's a mess.
Yeah, it was a big mess, and yeah, it
just imagine if Donner gotten to make all 4 movies. Oh my god!
And I think he found out when they announced that Richard Lester was taking over.
Good night, D-Bud.
But he said he would. Oh yeah, take care, D-Bud. And he said at that point he wasn't surprised because Lester was already hanging out as the in between him and Pierre.
Yeah,
and he's like, usually you don't have a director like that hanging around unless they're getting ready to take over.
Can you imagine?
And they did recoup after part 1, and that's why it took them another year and a half, 2 years to get going again.
Yeah,
on the second film. But they only had to see. Then that was the other problem that was posed, is they could have just finished the film had they kept Donner, and the movie would have been done and ready for 1980. But it wasn't, because they had Lester coming in. He had to shoot at least 50% of the movie to get credit. And supposedly there was a point where Lester said that he called Donner, and I don't know if this is true or not, because I don't know if they ever spoke. He says he called Donner and said, if you want credit still, we can work this out or something like that. But I don't think that ever happened. Because he was going to try and get him co-director credit or something like that. But I think that's per Lester, but I don't believe that story, because as far as I know, Donner never talked to them, never talked to Lester again after that. As far as he knows, he never saw part 2. And when they were putting the Donner cut of part 2 together, he would leave the room whenever they had to use Lester footage.
Wow. Crazy.
So he never actually saw the final cut of. That's another reason why I think the movie has issues. Because I don't think he was as committed to it as he should have been. Because at the end of the day, you definitely got to lose that last freaking scene. Like, it makes no sense that it's there.
It erases.
It just turns Clark into an asshole. Well, no, I'm talking about the diner scene specifically.
The diner scene. I hate the diner scene. Why do you leave that in there? Yeah,
you're right. Well, it's fun as a little kid. I have to say, it's fun as a little kid, but then
with the new ending, it makes no sense. Yeah,
but then when you see it, it's just Superman wouldn't do that, or he would do something in a sly way to get back at the guy, not physically. Go after the guy. He'd maybe
right. Well, that's
he'd outsmart him, or make the guy hurt himself in some way, or get something.
Which is kind of what he does, but it still doesn't negate the fact that he's still doing it out of pure spite at this point, because it doesn't even make sense that he knows who the guy is, right? Because like you just said, he erased the whole second movie.
Yeah.
So at that point, none of that shit happened. So they should have just ended it with Lois going, "Oh, what was I writing? Oh yeah." And that should have been the ending.
Yeah. Like he erased everything. It's just weird. But Alejandro says, would we have gotten Lethal Weapon if Donner and did Superman 4 both come out in 87? Maybe a little bit later, but I would take it. I would rather have done.
Actually,
I love Lethal Weapon. Go ahead.
Yeah, because they did offer Donner Superman 4, because at that time Golan and Globus had bought the rights, so it was completely different producers. And for a hot minute, they were trying to get him, but he was nope. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm just saying, I would rather him have done 4 Superman movies than Lethal Weapon, as much as I love Lethal Weapon. But he could have done that later. I mean, he could, so who knows?
He could have done it in between. 87 is when Lethal Weapon came out, anyway. So
he could have. Yeah, I mean,
well, if you think about it, he'd have done Superman 2 in 80. Superman 3 probably would have came out in 82 instead of 83.
And then he'd have done Superman 4 a little bit earlier, probably.
Yeah, so 83, 84, 85.
He did plenty
85 is probably when Superman 4 would initially
skip Lady
Hawk,
because I don't like that lady. I don't like that.
Or honestly, he probably would have skipped out on Superman 4 to do Goonies, and at that point, he would have turned it over to somebody else, I bet.
Maybe. But if he could do, I'd rather him do 4 than Goonies or Lady Hawk personally, but, it's just me.
But yeah, if he'd have stuck with him there, we probably would have had 6 or 7 Superman movies, even if he wouldn't have directed the last 2 or 3. Because at that point, I think the quality would have fell off, yeah. Supergirl, I don't think would have happened.
No, probably wouldn't happen.
The only reason Supergirl happened is because 3 was such a disappointment.
Well, they were worried about movie rights, but I don't know.
I don't think the Salkinds would have been interested had Superman 3 not been received better.
Or they could have put her in a Superman film. Maybe.
Well, that was kind of the original plan, and I'm sure you know that, but Christopher Reeve backed out at the last minute. Because that's why Jimmy Olsen's in it and stuff like that. It was meant to be.
They could have put, instead of her having her own movie, she could have been in a Superman movie, though.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, introduced her in a Superman 4.
That would have been nice. Who knows where we would be right now.
Yeah. It would have been nicer had we gotten a Batman movie a little earlier, too, maybe. As much as I love Tim Burton's Batman, I'm not going to say that the other script wasn't a little bit better in some respects. It does have some batshit crazy in it, stuff in it, pun intended, but
yeah.
Well, you watch Batman now, it's a really slim film. Like, that's why the sequels hold up a little bit better than the first film story-wise. But the first film holds up visually, but like it's a very thin story.
Yeah, that took Batman, again, took without what Steve Englehart did with his definitive Batman run in the late 70s, because he's the one. A lot of that's how it caught the eye of was it Uslan and Tom Mankiewicz and all these other different people that wrote various scripts and stuff, and that's what. And he even worked.
Yeah, the Mankiewicz script wasn't too bad. Yeah,
one of them was really weird. We used to have some of those scripts. I don't know how many more. Like when I had the shop.
Well, we did a live reading of one of them, and it's similar to the final movie. Got a lot of the
same stuff. Yes.
Yeah, the big difference is that you have the Robin stuff in it in most versions, and usually the Robin stuff is pretty much like it is in Batman Forever, only it's the Joker and not Riddler.
And you got the horse chase.
There's the horse chase, and yeah, that was in the one script we read. Otherwise, like his plan, I think, is a little different. But like the origin of the Joker is usually the same. They have the same, they show the flashback to the death of the Waynes, and every version pretty much the same. Like the Burton version, the big differences are like the third act and the Joker killing Batman's parents.
Yeah, I hate that.
Because the connection was supposed to be Joker killing Robin's parents and Robin having this vendetta against him, and that's the whole point in that one script. Is he says it's never gonna make you feel better, right? Because I still never got the guy that killed my parents or whatever, but I'm kicking his ass every night, basically, in so many words. I can't remember the exact. I think it's been a couple of years, but like, there's a bunch of great scenes that are very Batman, right? Like you're like, okay, this should have been in the movie. This should have been in the movie. Why wasn't this in the movie? But at the end of the day, it's a good movie, but I
don't like issues. The Sam Hamm scripts. And of course, it's not as bad as the Sam Hamm script for Watchmen, but that's another story.
I haven't read that one.
Horrible. Even back when Alan Moore still had some sanity.
Was that the one Gilliam was supposed to direct? Or
no, Gilliam's was different. He wrote his own. The Sam Hamm Watchmen script is horrific.
Yeah, I don't know so much about that one.
I've never been able to get my hands on the Gilliam one. But it was. I heard even Moore hated it. That should tell you. I don't know. And back when he actually cared about,
he hates everything though.
But back then, he actually cared about the script for the movie because he hated.
Well, and wasn't the other thing with the Gilliam one? What was it? Remember he was going to do some wacky shit because wasn't he going to set it in the modern day, even though it was like only like 5 or 10 years difference or whatever it was.
I don't know. I never got to read it. I do know that after the Snyder Watchmen movie came out, which I have a lot of problems with, but still, it looked pretty good and had good, casting and all that stuff. He came out and criticized it in the dumbest way. You could criticize that movie in a lot of ways, the Snyder's Watchmen, but Gilliam came out and said he was too slavish to the comic, and he tried to make it too much like he shouldn't have made it look like the comic. So that's the one thing he should have done and did, idiot.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I swear Vicky Vale was a different character in the original script of Batman too.
Silver St. Cloud, probably, or somebody like that.
Something like. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I swear, like it's the same. Like they have the same story beats. I swear they switched the character. Like it was an original character or a non-Batman character, and they just swapped it out with Vicky Vale or whatever. I could be wrong.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be Silver St. Cloud, the character created.
You could be right
by Steve, Steve Englehart, who without him there might not have been a Batman movie in '89. Really, kind of makes sense. So.
But since we were talking about it earlier, I don't have the VHS down here, but I do have this. It has gotten a Blu-ray release.
Wanted.
Heart beeps.
Oh my! Yes, heartbeat. Wow.
Look out for this gang of misfit robots.
Oh man, I'll never forget that Starlog cover. I almost didn't buy that issue.
One of the
Starlog for that
weirdest
cover.
movies ever.
I don't think I
And
ever
it's like
got
you
to
watch
it.
the whole thing and you're
Andy
just like, is this
Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman like trolling us or what through the whole movie?
Yeah.
It is a weird movie. It's got Bernadette Peters in it though, Randy Quaid. Christopher Guest is in it.
No number
Wow.
5 though, right?
No, but I
Johnny
mean,
Fox.
Joking, yeah.
the effects are actually a pretty. I think they spent a lot of
I've
money.
never
on this
seen
movie.
that. God.
It's weird. It's a weird watch
Weird.
Yeah.
And they put it on the
I'm-
cover of Starlog for some reason.
because of the sci-fi angle, probably.
Yeah, that's why.
I mean, I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan, so I like I said, I
Oh, you
actually
had to
have
have
the VHS, so yeah, I've seen
he's,
it. But
he's
yeah.
still alive out there somewhere, laughing at everybody. Fake, he faked his death, of course.
Part of me wonders.
Yeah.
I've always wondered.
He's with Elvis.
It's the kind of thing he would do. Just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't help that Bob Zamuda pushed a lot, especially by going out there and being oh god, I just forgot the character's name. Tony Clifton.
Oh
no, Tony Clifton. He would go out as Tony Clifton. Have you ever seen the movie Man on the Moon?
Oh, great movie.
No, I did not see it.
One of the
Man
best
Moon?
biopics ever, and everything in it actually happened. Some of it a little out of order, but it's all still there. And you can even compare it to like the actual video of some of that stuff, and it's pretty good. But the end actually points out what is that didn't come out till later on, and when the movie come out, which was true, is that after Andy died, to pay for that big performance he did at Carnegie Hall or whatever it was, Bob and his brother would go around doing Tony Clifton for years, and that's what didn't help with the rumors. Because 9 times out of 10, one of those two was actually Tony Clifton and not Andy. And then Andy would do Tony. He would actually get dressed up and go out and do shit that Andy wouldn't do in person normally. It was really weird. Because like Andy was a vegetarian, didn't smoke, didn't drink. But as soon as he would put on the Clifton makeup and suit, he would go out and pick up prostitutes, go to like bars and steakhouses and strip clubs, and would eat steak, drink, smoke, do all this shit for like 2-3 days straight. And he would just like Andy would disappear. But one of the funniest stories on the movie is great because they actually have this documentary that goes along with the movie on Netflix. And Milos Forman was the director, and and this is one of the few times Jim Carrey had done either the first time or one of the few times he'd ever done a character as Method. Right? Because he's like, I don't want to just do an impression of Andy Kaufman. I want to become Andy Kaufman. So he went through this rigorous thing where he kind of just dove into the character. So when he would show up on set, you could only refer to him as Andy or Latka or Tony, depending on who it was that day. And he was so into the character that he got kicked off the Universal lot one day dressed as Tony Clifton. Because he pissed off the security guards because he showed up with actual hookers drunk.
I'm Tony Clifton.
Yeah, and so at some point, Milos had just had enough of this stuff. So he calls Jim up one night. He goes, Jim, I can't take this shit anymore. Because I can't take Andy. I can't take I especially can't take any more Tony. I can't do this anymore. Can't deal with it. Jim goes like, all right. He goes, I could come in tomorrow and I can do an impression of Andy, or I can do an impression of Latka, or I can do an impression of Tony, but it's not going to be the same thing. There's a big pause for a moment. He goes, no, that's fine. I just wanted to talk to Jim for a minute. I'll see you tomorrow.
Wow.
And he hung up. So like when Jim did this movie, he just buried himself in it. And his family and friends of Andy were just like, he was picking up on like things that only people who knew him knew, like mannerisms. And because Andy was also very OCD, and I don't know how they don't know how Jim knew this, but he picked up on certain things too that just like, I don't know if he went around and talked to people that knew him that weren't involved with the movie or what, or got, stories from old comedians or what, but like he just dove into the character, and Andy's mother started crying when she saw him doing some of this stuff. Cause she's like, that's Andy. She's like, you're Andy. It's weird because you're being Andy right now, but you're not Jim anymore. You're Andy. You know, like they couldn't get their heads around it. It was like a weird family reunion, they said. And all this footage and stuff is in that documentary. It's really cool to see it all.
Yeah, he died so young, to age 35.
Yeah, 84.
What year was that?
Or 82 or 84. I can't
84,
remember.
yeah.
Was it 84? They even have the thing with him getting voted off of SNL. The only thing that sucks is they don't have Eddie Murphy doing it. They have Lorne Michaels doing it. But that was the thing with the movie I also give them credit for, is they tried to get as many people who actually were there playing themselves.
Yeah. That was a great movie, yeah.
Yeah, so you got Christopher Lloyd and Tony Danza, all of them, yeah.
The incident with Jerry the King Lawler, the wrestling slap.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's in it too, yeah.
Yeah, he's Lawler's in it. But then, then that you found out that was all set up years later, like,
Yeah.
But it took a long time.
Lawler promised he wouldn't tell, yeah.
It was so damn believable, though. I'm a huge wrestling fan, but once you're a little kid, you think it's all real, then it's all, it's not that it's fake.
I credit Andy for creating a lot of that modern WWF stuff. Like, you always had the heel, but you never had a guy who did that kind of shit so deeply, right? Like, that was what he was doing. It was all a game to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he got confused at a point. He's like, when he got voted off of SNL, he took that personally. He did not expect that to happen. He's like, wow, they hate me. And everybody's like, yeah, you were fucking wrestling women and acting like crazy, Andy. Like, he's like, but it's just an act. He's like, I'm being the heel. Like, don't they get it? Like, well, no, at that time, wrestling was regional and you didn't exactly have the big grandiose show that WWF would eventually become, right?
Yep.
So I do credit him with a lot of that. I mean, sure, wrestling was already there. The heel was already a part of the game and the baby face and all that stuff. But he really added the theatrics to it, if you ask me. Because people fucking hated him. Because he come in and he kicked the crap out of women. Well, you know what it was? He paid most of those women.
Yeah, it was a wrestling.
He slept with like 90% of them afterwards. Of course, that's how he ended up meeting his partner. I don't think they ever did actually get married, but and she was one of the ones that half the time would wrestle him before people actually knew who she was. So yeah, it was all kind of a game to him, but that's what he was. He was like the world's biggest troll.
He started trolling.
I love the scene where, and this actually happened too, where he's pissed off at the network guys because he filmed this Christmas special that never got aired, or not a Christmas special. It was just a special. He filmed a special that never got aired, and in the special, he wanted the camera to start rolling, like there was something wrong with the tape. And the network kept arguing with him over it. He's like, no, but I want him to get up and I want him to start messing with their TVs. And he's like, the network's guy's like, we don't want them to get up and mess with their TVs. Like, but I do. They just didn't get him. They just didn't get him. And he didn't want to deal with that shit. And the movie does a real good job of covering, like, he didn't want to be a comedian. He didn't want to be pegged as a comedian because that's not what he was. Right. And they do the great job with all that stuff. They even have the scene where he reads The Great Gatsby live. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but he went to a college, and this is a true fucking story too. Went to a college, and they got pissy after the first few minutes because he wasn't doing Latka and Elvis and all that kind of stuff. So he's like, all right, since you guys can't settle down, I'm going to read from The Great Gatsby. And he puts on this jacket. And everybody starts laughing at first, thinking there's some joke to it. But about the second chapter, they realize he's not kidding. He just keeps going and going, like he's going to read the whole book. So people start getting pissed and start leaving and throwing the program and stuff up on the stage and getting pissy. So he's like, all right, I'll stop. He goes, you want me to play the record? Because there's a record player sitting there.
Oh God.
And they're like, yeah, Mighty Mouse. Yeah. So everybody comes back in. He puts the record on. The record picks up exactly where he left off reading The Great Gatsby.
That's awesome.
That's fantastic.
Everybody got pissed and laughed.
That's fantastic.
To him, that was hilarious.
He was his best audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But to have that set up to know exactly the point
right
where you're going to quit, where you know the audience has had just enough, where they don't quite walk out yet, but they're starting to. And you have to time that in your head, right? Like, that is fucking genius. Like you can't plan that any other way. And that's the thing is you find out later
Original
on in life,
performer, yeah.
how much stuff that he planned, which is crazy. Because the way it would come off, like the Jerry Lawler stuff, like you said, Mark, like up until recently, Jerry never admitted to that being real or being fake. He was always like, "Oh no, it's real. It was real. I really slapped him."
It was real. Yeah,
you know, it was like, "Yeah, I really slapped him, but he told me to."
Canadian
and in
Spidey.
the movie, they show that they were good friends and stuff. Yeah, so yeah.
Well, it was like Geraldo Rivera got slapped. Was that who's on TV when one of the wrestlers beat up Geraldo?
Yeah.
Was that ended up being true? Or was that
that was real? That and the time he got hit in the face with the
chair,
the neo-Nazi episode or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was real. Yeah.
Yep.
That was funny shit. That was good. TV was
Spidey.
good.
Yeah, oh god, yeah, way better.
I did get to meet Geraldo a few months ago, but I didn't get a chance to ask him if that was real or not.
Yeah, as far as I know, it was
You
real.
met Geraldo?
Yeah. Yep, I did meet Geraldo.
I don't know if I'd be proud of that or not.
Yeah, I don't know. He's a dope.
Well, I didn't ask him about Al Capone's vault. Yeah.
Muhammad said, "Hey there, Canadian Spidey. Merry Christmas to you. But I hope you had a great Christmas, buddy." Was it? Oh, well, we're gonna get out of here in a second, folks. But Tetrarch.
Oh,
asked,
sorry, I drug this out so long.
No, dude. Are you kidding me? I'm having a great time, man. I've been here so long. I'm sure everybody wants to run, but I mean, I ain't doing nothing. But Tetrarch asked, way off topic, with Tommy Smothers passing. Yes, he did.
Yeah,
and Richard Franklin.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen Serial with Martin Mull and Christopher Lee out? Yes, I love that movie and seen it forever. Sally Kellerman and Tommy had a small role.
Which
in that.
one?
The movie Serial. It's from the 70s. Christopher Lee.
I don't think I know that one.
Martin Mull. Oh, Serial is hilarious, man. But I hadn't thought about that in a long time. That movie's great though. It's in the 70s. It was just called Serial.
You know, I would be surprised if like Kino Lorber has it, but yeah.
I wonder. I wonder.
Look, is it like Serial, like the cereal?
Yes, it's like
or Serial like a killer.
It's a comedy, as in like the word serial, as in like a serial, or like a
gotcha
comedy based on sort of like a soap opera type thingy. But it's hilarious. It's a Martin Mull. This is one of the funniest movies of the 70s. I remember it. And if you could,
did it come out in 1980?
Was it 80?
1980? It looks
like.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Yeah,
Martin Mull. Get it for $20. It came out on Blu-ray.
Martin Mull.
So you can put it out. I don't think it was Kino.
Wolf Breaker. Yeah, it was Christopher Lee's hilarious in it, and I remember it very well.
Never seen that one. Up, time to add that to the movie list. If Clobberin Tom says it's good,
I thought it was funny as hell. One of our
Olive put it out. I can't recommend the Blu-ray probably, but yeah.
Oh, not bad.
They're a so-so company. They're out of commission now, as far as I know. But you never know.
It was a pretty risque,
weird, inspired by a novel. All right.
Look at the cast, though.
Yeah, I see that. Sally Hellerman, like you said.
Yep. Christopher Lee. I can't remember all the other ones.
Tom Smothers, Pamela Bellwood, Stacy Neakin.
It's been forever since I've seen that one. What made you think of that one, Tetrarch? Wow.
That's an oddball.
There you go. So look, everybody, thank you for being here with us tonight on a Wild Card Wednesday. It's still Christmas-ish. It's Christmas leftovers, if you will. We're still in the middle.
Nummy.
It's that tweener,
Some ham and turkey sandwiches.
Yes, almost out of ham. Almost out of turkey. I'm out of turkey now, but almost out of ham. So
I got a lot of calamari left.
Jesus, dude.
Christmas?
Everybody's sick. Yeah,
we do the 7 fishes, Italians, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So a lot of fish.
No thanks.
A lot of fish.
What did you eat for Christmas, Tom?
Turkey and ham. Most places I went.
Yeah, cool.
And then I had my family Christmas here on Saturday, and I made a small ham and a small turkey.
Nice, excellent. Yeah. So what you got going on there, Tom? Anything coming up? Obviously tomorrow you guys gonna be on all day or not?
Yeah, well, Midnight's Edge after dark for sure.
Yes.
Otherwise, during the day, I have no idea where I'll pop up other than Mr. H's.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Marky?
Yeah, well, are we doing Clubhouse reviews tomorrow night? Or
We're going to do the Clubhouse, but with no review. We'll do the reviews next week.
Just to hang out. Just to hang out.
Right. We'll resume reviewing for next week.
Yep.
We're holidays. We want to be lazy.
Holidays. Yeah. That's what I say. Yeah, because my got family in town and stuff, so I should be around, but I don't know. We might go out to dinner or something, but see what happens. I'll definitely be there, but I was. As long as we don't have to review anything, that's easy. Just hang out and have fun.
Review,
right?
Just hang out with Raquel.
And we'll have Sunday Night Geekery will be happening. We'll do a nice deep dive on all the great clams, oysters, mussels, and eel and shrimp that we had for dinner for our Italian Christmas dinner. And I got a good stash of toys too. So that's the joke. I'm always easy to buy for in the family. It's like, my kids are older now. It's like, get them a sweater. They want gift cards, or something. But for me, it's always easy. So I got this fun Hulk smash, little cute tchotchke. You probably can't, I don't know if you can hear it, but let me turn off the. It's just like a little finger thing where you can do. Let me turn off my filter here so you can hear it.
Thank you, DJ. Appreciate that. Thank you.
But it
can't hear it.
Well, here I'm gonna do it now. Let's see.
Doesn't sound anything like Lou Ferrigno.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, right? Hulk smash, yeah. So
John Stossel did get slapped. That's true. I like Stossel though.
Yeah, he did get. Here, I'll turn my camera on for 2 seconds. Here, where's the tab? Lost my tab here.
You're drinking Tab? Nobody drinks Tab.
No, I don't drink Tab. I'm wearing the life jacket.
You do make Tab.
Wearing the life jacket too. Yeah,
they do make it though. Yeah.
Do they still?
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, they did make Tab.
So.
Yeah. Here's the it's Hulk smash, and you put this on your finger.
Oh, okay.
So if someone mentions Mana Stool or something.
Yeah.
My nieces gave me this. You can go. So you hit it when you're angry.
Interesting.
But those are the great.
Don't make me angry.
Yeah, and I got this Jaws.
That's cool.
globe.
I love it.
So which is fun. And I got a bottle opener to go.
Oh, that's cool. I want one of those.
I love that. Yeah.
The Jaws stuff. Yeah.
And he's got a Jaws barrel.
So it's
bottle opener.
Wow. Those are cool. You got cool kids.
Yeah.
Do they make bottles that need openers?
What says Christmas more than a Jort?
I still buy Coke bottles.
Too.
Oh,
it lights up.
That's
too.
cool. I have so many Jaws baubles. It's not even funny. Now I really want that.
Yeah.
Taking the light off you.
That is very nice.
Oh, that is cool.
Jaws.
Like I even have they did some like fish tank Jaws things. I even have those by my television. Just they look cool. I'm like, oh man. I buy almost everything. Jaws is just one of my weaknesses.
No, I love it. The only thing I have from Jaws is that diorama of the boat being pulled into the shark.
See, now that's one of the few things I don't have.
Like in the late 90s that came out with it. It's pretty nice.
Yes, I did not get a chance to get that at the time, and it's not cheap to get anymore.
Thank you.
The only other things I don't, I mean, there's quite a few things I don't have, but the ones I would really like to get is I missed out on some really cool, ornaments from Hallmark years ago too.
They've done Jaws.
Yeah.
Hallmark, nice.
Yeah, the shark. I think they have the barrel. I think they have the boat.
Yeah. That was like 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah, and I missed out on them, so they're not exactly the cheapest to get now, but they're not as bad as that diorama is.
Nice.
Yeah, you can get some of the stuff on eBay. Don't buy the stuff on Fleabay now, too. I noticed you go to get because everyone's hyped about Christmas right now. So, like, buy it in July, you get a better deal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because there's some Star Trek ones I missed, but this year they've got the Battlestar Galactica ornament, which is awesome, and then of course
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, the original
Galactica, real deal Galactica. Yep, I would like.
I got a few Hallmark ones this year, but not as many as usual.
That one was $30.
Yeah, it was an expensive one, and then they also have the Star Trek one, the hand grabbing the Enterprise, that classic "Who Mourns for Adonis."
Yeah, the only ones I got this year was the they had this set of Jack Skellington heads. So I got that, which are kind of smaller ones. But then I got
Aliens preschool book. I did not hear about that one. Fiona,
this one is a
I've not heard
Walmart
about that.
exclusive, I guess.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
that's nice.
Yeah.
One ring to rule them all.
Ah, very cool. Stuff like
It's a
that
little-
makes me want to get a Christmas
big for
tree.
my finger.
Stuff like that makes me want to get a Christmas tree.
Yeah, that was cool.
Your
I have
date got a big finger. Yeah. No.
I have it's a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. It's the twig. Good night, Ezra. Shalom to you. Thank you
Those
for
are always
popping in.
good.
Oh,
Well,
let me
this
show
one
you.
isn't.
I just got him. Let me grab something.
This isn't a Hallmark one, but this is one of my new favorites. John McClane.
Oh my God, I gotta see that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh,
It even lights up.
welcome to the party, pal.
Yeah.
Not to the coast. We'll have a few laughs. Love it.
Get together, we'll have a few laughs.
Whoa, I love it.
Yeah, this is an official one, so yeah, it even came in a.
Oh, I believe you, Fiona. That's crazy, but yeah, that's insane. Oh,
It
you
even
got,
came with like a little book.
you got a Tremors Blu-ray there, right?
Yeah, that's the.
New one.
Well, this is the original pack, but I just got new 4K of part 2.
Oh wow,
But yeah, it even came with like a little book. It's weird.
nice.
And it's just got like little quotes from the movie and stuff in it.
Die Hard.
And then one is just his feet.
Where did you find that? Walmart or in?
No, I got this off of Amazon actually. Which is weird because they actually have the Fox logo on here, and it was from 2021.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know, they still own the Fox logo. Then maybe that was before they sold it.
Fiona, we might show that tomorrow night if we get a chance. We're about to run out of here right now, though. But thank you so much. If you do want to DM it to me, I will look at it for sure. Oh wow!
Oh, that's cool.
Keep showing.
This is on sale at CVS for 12 smack rolls. Now I've had one of these for years, and I bought one for my daughter to put in her new apartment.
I love it. Nice.
So,
oh wow, $12. That's it.
Half price at CVS. There were a couple more left. Well, of course, it depends on which CVS here, but there are like 4 or 5 in my CVS. So I just love this. So I set this up every year. You guys saw the picture on Twitter. I put all my, other comic book characters and some of the Year Without a Santa Claus figures around the creche. So you got, C-3PO and R2-D2 and all those guys, hanging out around the creche. But yeah, who doesn't love Charlie Brown Christmas, right? So yeah, I know, I just love that scene. So figured I'd show you guys that. But yeah, so head to CVS if you want it. All their Christmas stuff is half price. So, and the candy too. There's some candy half price, unfortunately.
CVS is expensive, by the way. So, but
yeah,
half price
is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely, isn't it? Oh, but boy, Will. All right, everybody. So I want to thank you all for being here tonight. And this is to be continued, part 2 tomorrow night with the Clubhouse. And so, let's see what we can tell you. So, show notes for that. Pretty much, we'll have the Clubhouse tomorrow night with the number 1 and Mark. We're just gonna hang out, no reviews or anything, just kick back.
Fun.
And then on J-Man's show Friday night, I'll be on there. We're gonna finish our long saga of reviewing Jack Kirby's Fourth World, the final review of it. We'll finish up that night with J-Man and Sean and I. Looking forward to that. We've had such a great time doing that. I don't know if Nick's having a show Friday night. I forgot to ask him. He didn't do one Tuesday night.
Is he away or just could be?
This time, don't know. I'd have to ox him. But I'll be here Saturday night, just like I was here last Saturday night. Again, number 1 is going to still be on Saturday night. She's still doing shore leave. She'll be here a week from Saturday after this to resume our reviews as Voyager. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. But this week, just some more open Trek talk on Saturday night Star Trek. And as Mark said, Monday night, the geekery returns. So we'll geek off. That's Sunday night.
Sunday night. Yeah.
New Year's Eve night. You're gonna geekery. We're gonna geekery.
Oh, it's New Year's.
That's New Year's Eve night, dude. You sure you want to say that? I mean,
Oh,
I
let
don't
me
care,
check
but
with yeah,
you better
probably.
check with the family on that
I'll
one,
check
Captain.
check.
You're not
I better
like
check.
me, who's a hermit by himself at
Yeah.
home. No one cares, but you,
Yeah.
I think you may have some responsibility.
Maybe I'll do something. Maybe I'll do something earlier before we go out. If we're going out, yeah.
There you
Yeah, I
go.
better
So
check
yes,
on that one. Yeah, better
so
check on that
we'll
one.
see.
Yeah.
Oh, Homicide, you're enjoying the Fourth World Run. Great, cool stuff, man. Great. So we'll do all the shout outs and stuff tomorrow night and talk to you. I'm just gonna play the end credits and get out here. Tom, if I could ask you something afterwards, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay, so let's but everyone, thank you so much for being here tonight with us. And again, what a great, you've all been fantastic this whole year around, and we're going to continue celebrating tomorrow night, a big one more holiday celebration in us before we get down back to business next week, of course. Although, well, 2 more since I got the trek coming up. But thank you all so much. Where am I? Oh, there we go. And again, thanks to number one. I'm so okay. I admit it. She made this new intro outro for me, and I'm excited about it because I never had one.
Super chat, Clobberin times.
When's the show? I did. What? Oh, RRTNZ. Thank you so much, my friend. Your too kind says Ash Nazag, but I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry.
Well, hang on, I might be able to help you out with this.
Just in case the speech of mortar hadn't been uttered here. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Nice. Well, there you go.
I'm scared now.
Wow. I was going to play a video for you, but that's better than that.
Ever speak those words again.
Thank you, RR. My goodness.
That was awesome, Tom.
That was greatness. Now we don't have to play. Well, we still. Wait a minute. You say you're angry with Mark? Okay.
God damn it, Mark.
Sorry. No, I'm just kidding.
Have you played You're a Dumbass tonight?
Oh, we gave it to Max once, but now I can see you're asking for a reason. So yeah, can't get enough of that one, can you? Here we go.
It's because you're a dumbass.
That's going to be so handy when we get back to the Voyager reviews. Thank you so much. Thanks, Tom. By the way, that was brilliant. Amazing.
Try.
So everyone have a wonderful rest of your night. We'll get all the shout outs and stuff done tomorrow night and everything. But until then, take care, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Poker. You know the game?
I just love clobbering time.